Hello, I am in fact Marshal Kevin. This is the posse that's joining us this evening. You can see them all around me. Well, you can see most of them around me. We'll start right next to me. We've got our very own Noctum Sky, also from the Warlocks game, and tonight playing Jet. Next to him, we have a large wooden box played by Hannah. More on that later. Next in line, we've got Lucius the Undertaker, played by our very own Lessamax. And last but absolutely positively and definitely not least, just ask her if you think otherwise, Alice, played by our very own Sarah. With that, let's jump right into a recap of last week. For various reasons, all of you were in various places on a train from Dodge City to Denver. Some weird activities and some very strange people you met along the way included, but were not limited to, a Russian princess on the run from assassins, a nervous man who kept leaving the cart and going back to check on something, a woman who pretended she wasn't with him but watched him every time he did go, two psychopathic children and their much long-suffering parents, and some others that we won't mention because you didn't really interact with the rest of them. There was, of course, because this is Deadlands, a train robbery involving the blowing up of a trestle and the very near plunging of the entire train in a bottomless pit. And very nearly made that sound, too. A short fight against some bandits who thought they were going to have an easy haul out of the bottom of the trestle ended rather explosively, shall we say, when the party took it upon themselves to remove some forest, a couple of bad guys, and the will to fight from the rest of them with a stick of dynamite and an improvised explosive device. At that point, or somewhere around that point, you're not quite sure, the baggage car and the caboose somehow got disconnected from the back of the train, and it's got all your stuff. You assumed that it had gone tearing off down the tracks because you've just been coming steeply uphill. So steeply uphill, in fact, that you guys have been in snow recently. Just a little bit, just enough to leave tracks. You were talked into going back to the scene of the obvious below you accident of the baggage car and the caboose by a young lady who said she worked for the Museum of Boston and who said that it was her partner from that museum that had gone back on occasion to check on a box which contained valuables that she insisted be checked on. Plus, she pointed out all your stuff was in that cart, so there was a good reason to go. Heading down the hill, you guys did do some searching and poking around and some paranoid sliding down a slightly snow-covered hill. What you saw along the way looked like somebody, for lack of a better phrase, somebody on stilts running downhill beside the tracks. Looks like something followed after the train. Eventually, you came around a corner, again, led by this young lady, who stopped at the sign of the crash. The baggage cart had pretty much crushed most of the caboose when it came off the rails. And as you guys approached, she pulled open the door. You looked over her shoulders, and inside the cart, you saw bloodstains and a huge broken crate. At that moment, the lady from the museum gasped, "It escaped." And that's where we'll begin today. I need Lucius, Jet, and Alice to draw 4 chips from the pile. And Ellie, you weren't here last week, so I can't give you a point for good role play, so you only get 3. We're going to do this a little different than last week. Please draw them and look at what they are, and then put them on your character sheet. On the very first core page, there's a spot for all the different colored ones, and you can put them in there, and that way we don't lose them when we move from page to page. So once you guys got them all in, I will just recall them all, and we will just get them out of the way. Okay. Remember, you can't have more than 10, and if you want to know what they do, it's in your journal under the rules and tables section, fate chips.
Did we draw 4 last time? Because we were supposed to remind you to draw maybe another chip, if I'm not mistaken.
That was the one I just added.
Okay, just
So
checking.
you're drawn 4
Gotcha.
out of 3. Yeah,
And then so if you had some left over from last time,
you keep them.
Okay.
Yep, you still have those. And just a quick reminder for everybody of what they do. You can burn them in game. If you burn a white one, which is the most common ones, you can add an extra. It's as if you add an extra point to your aptitude or trait. In other words, you roll an extra die. It also can heal 1 wound. When it happens, it prevents the wound from happening. You can't use them retroactively to heal the wound that's already there. Or it heals 5 wind. If you don't burn it and save it to spend on bounty points, which is how you improve your character, it's worth 1. The red ones, you roll a bonus die and add it to the highest current die. So you don't roll a whole nother trait roll. You just roll 1 die and add it to the current total. It will also prevent 2 wounds or heal 10 wind. It's worth 2 bounty points. Bounty points. The blue ones, they're the rarest. They do the same thing as the red chips I just explained, except I forgot one thing about the red chips. Every time you guys burn a red chip, me, the marshal, gets to draw a chip for the bad guys. And they don't save those to get better. They burn them to make rolls better almost immediately. That's why there's blue chips. There's less of them, but if you use one of them, it's the same as a red chip, but I don't get a chip in return. Also, they heal 3 or prevent 3 wounds or heal 15 wind. You're going to have to do something real special to get a legendary chip. They do exist, but they're rarer than hen's teeth.
So my question is, when a chip can heal multiple wounds, do you just keep up with how many wounds you've healed, or is it like they'll have to be like at the same time when they occurred?
It has to be at the moment it occurs. So I'll say to you, you take 3 wounds, and you say, I'm burning a red chip to prevent 2 of those.
Okay.
Or only take 1.
If you took 1 wound and you wanted to burn your red chip, would that mean you were using like half of it, or like you burned that chip and you can't do the other one?
It's an all or nothing.
Okay, got it.
You can't have half a chip. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I seem to be unable to draw chips.
Okay. I will send them to you. I know why, but for right now, I will just deal them to you. 3, 2.
You said you wanted to put our chips in our character sheet. Was that it?
Yeah, on the front page of your character sheet where it says core, the very first page.
There's a
Underneath,
little counter.
Yeah.
there's a little counter below, and you can just click on how many of each you have. You
It's
can
the same
never have
kinda-
more than 10. So
It's the same kind of counter you have for your wind and stuff.
And if you didn't use any last round, you should have a total of 7.
Yeah, I didn't use any, so
So you probably want to start burning them from time to time in this game, because you're going to get minimum 3 more at the start of every session.
okay.
So if you're not using them in game, start thinking about what attributes you want to improve. To improve an attribute, it's 1 point for each level of attributes. So if you want a level 4 attribute, that costs you 4 points. If you want to improve beyond 5 each, that gets much more expensive, but we'll worry about that between games.
Right. Yeah, okay. I'll probably use them for like attributes later, but hang on to them for now.
Yep. Hey, you know what? When I shoot you, you might change your mind.
Exactly.
So with that, everybody's got them registered on their sheets, and you know how to burn them. Excellent. In that case, let's go down the rabbit hole to our very own poisoned paradise. Ellie, today did not start like every other day of your life. Today started with you darting into the railway yard, hurling yourself into the first sealed baggage tray you could find and hiding behind stuff. It seems to have worked. The train started to move. But about 20 minutes later, you heard somebody coming into the baggage cart from outside. You heard them starting to unlock the locks. So you jumped into a box. It's what you do. Otherwise, let's see. So you heard from inside this box some really scary music. You
How about that? Things are crazy over here.
From inside this box, in the complete and utter darkness, you can hear your own breathing, and you hear that lock unlock, and the door opens, and heavy footsteps come in, thump, thump, thump. And they stop not far away from you. You can hear as they're shifting in the train, you can hear the squeaking of the wood under their feet. This is a big person. There's a lot of weight. And you hear him fiddling with something, dragging this heavy something across the floor. And then you hear and the tearing of claws against wood. And you hear a voice say, "Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit." And you hear and the skittering stops. And you hear as he moves the object back where it was. And he leaves. And you smell smoke. Not like it's on fire, but have you ever seen the smoke they use to control bees?
Yeah,
It's kind
yeah.
of thick and oily, and it's got a different smell. It smells more like that. Would you like to stay in your box, or would you like to get out and investigate?
I'll climb out.
You find yourself in the baggage car. Even though it's daylight, it's quite dark in here because the only light is coming from around the door. So it's really dim, and you're having a hard time seeing more than the outline of boxes. You see all around you baggage, regular baggage you'd expect to see on a train, luggage pieces. There's a section behind a locked door with all the weapons in it, where you know that they would have taken people's everything larger than a pistol. That's the basic rule on the trains here. You're also looking around in a sort of self-interested way, and you do notice there's a couple bits of food here and there. So if this is a long day, at least there's going to be something to eat. You do see what must be that box that he moved. It's the biggest, heaviest box sitting in the middle of the baggage cart. And you can still see just tiny little wisp of smoke coming out from underneath the lid.
I'm gonna go and investigate it.
Okay, give me a scrutinize check. If you don't have the skill, just roll one die of the type that you have for cognition. You can use the... Oh, did we get the... Yeah, we got the macros turned on for you, right? At the bottom of the screen, you've got keep all and keep one.
Where's that?
On roll 20.
I think so.
Okay,
yeah.
So yeah, do that. Keep... if you don't... Do you have the scrutinize skill?
Yep.
Oh, okay. In that case, I'll shut up and you can roll it. Yeah. Well done. You rolled D6s and ended up with 22. Very nice. You've got some time, right? You're in this place by yourself. There's only a little bit of light, but you make your way around this box. A couple things are real obvious. There's air holes, but they're drilled kind of on the bottom of the frame underneath, where they're hidden for some reason. Like somebody doesn't want you to know that there needs to be air holes in this box. There's a very strong smell of that smoke coming out, especially through those holes. And through one of the cracks, I mean, it's very tightly built, but you can lift the lid won't come off, but it'll open just a little bit. And you look in and you see just the reflection of light of something black and shiny.
Okay, and I can't make out what it is.
Not without opening the box the rest of the way. And now that you look at it, the chains and the locks on this box are heavy. Even the box itself, the planks are thick. And you remember how difficult it was for what was obviously a very large, strong person to move it even just a couple of feet.
And is the smell of smoke coming from inside it?
It is. It's fading.
Huh.
It's like somebody that sounds in retrospect maybe like somebody pumped something in there I mean, you heard something start to wake up, but now it's not awake anymore. So
Okay. Can I try to? I'm gonna try to say something. Can anybody hear me?
you are in a baggage car that is connected to the next car up would be the food car, and then after that is where some of the passengers are. So you yell out and you wait. You don't hear anything.
Okay. Well, I might, if I can't get the box open, I might leave it for now then.
Mm-hmm.
What else is in? Is there anything else in here that looks out of place?
Well, just to keep using that 22. You check around. Everything else in this place makes perfect sense, except for in the gun case. There's standard rifles and shotguns, the sort of thing you'd expect. And then at the end, there's a little black box about 2 feet square and about a foot thick. It's a black leather box with a big strap around it. But for some reason, it's in with the weapons.
Okay, I'm gonna check that out.
Okay, yeah, it's not really locked. Give me a... What are we gonna do here? Give me a streetwise, if you've got it.
Yep.
See how good you are at... We'll use that for lock picking. A 9. Okay. I mean, you've got time. It takes you probably close to an hour to get into the cage where the weapons are. But you're keeping an ear out, and that cage opens up. You reach up and grab that little box and pull it out. And just as you're about to open it, you hear somebody trying to lock on the cart again.
I'm gonna jump back in my box.
Okay. Are you taking the box?
I'm gonna
with
take the box with me.
Okay. And I'm assuming you close the...
Yeah.
You close the thing up and jump back in the box with this little box. You hear the same heavy footprints or footsteps coming over to the box. And then you hear a prying sound, like somebody's prying at something, like he's trying to pry the lid off. And then that scuttering again. And then a horrible sound of shattering wood and the sick suction sound of something large and pointy driving into a body. You can just hear it. You know what it is. You hear the ribs give. You hear the stomach just fold. One just... And then there's just a little clatter.
I'm not gonna move.
Yeah, you hunker down. A few seconds later, you hear the door open again, and you hear, "Oh shit!" And you hear that same sound again, and the skittering of feet over to the door, and then you hear, in the distance, "No, no, 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 no," and this metal on metal clank, just, and the train you're in starts to slow, and then it stops, and there's, in the silence for a second, the sounds of on the floor outside the box. And then you start to roll backwards the way you came. It's at that point you start to do the math and you start to think how steep the trail is that you've been going up in this train. And you brace yourself in that box because this is going to be bad. And you wrap that little box up against your chest and you lean against your backpack facing downhill and you wait. And you wait. And you wait, and it tilts and twists, and you're upside down and right side up and smashing around inside this box. There's no real way to brace yourself. You take 5 points of wind. As you come to a stop.
Stop moving?
Yeah, and the train stops.
Doesn't sound like there's anybody else alive in the room with me, right?
The only sound in this room is, or in this train car is...
All right, I'm gonna crawl out then.
Okay, you start to push up on the lid of the box you're in, and there's a resistance. And then for a second you hear right above you, and there's a weight. And the skittering stops. And then it's right outside the box.
Okay, I'm gonna stop trying to get out for a second. I'm gonna not try to mess with this.
You can feel it's trying to get in. You please give me a guts check. First one of the game. You choke back the scream. Something's trying to get in here, and you're like, I'm underarmed. I'm trapped in a box. This is not good.
Can I pull my pistol out and ready it in case something
Oh
gets
yeah,
us in?
you're pointing it at the above you, and you can. I mean, you're the only one that can see it. Well, you can't in the dark, but you can feel it shaking in your hand. And then steps away from you, and you hear it dragging something heavy across the floor of the baggage cart. And then as the weight drops outside. And they're all gone. The sound is gone. You heard it go out the door of the cart.
All right, I'm gonna slowly try to get out of the box again.
You push open the top of the box. You look. There's two huge blood stains right from the one from the top exploded box, clearly open from the inside. There's one blood stain right there, and then a drag mark to the door. There's another one from the far end of the baggage cart, the part that connects to the next car. That door is open, and there's another drag mark. Starts there, comes to the side of the door, and goes out. So it took them both out the side. You look through that hole up the hill, and in the far distance, you can see the rails just disappearing.
Okay, I'm gonna exit the room in the opposite direction.
Okay, so the bodies got dragged out the side, so the only other door is at the far end, sort of heading up the hill.
Yeah.
So you crawl your way up there and stick your head out and look up and down. Below you, the caboose is shattered. The baggage car that you're in has smashed it against the trees. Looking uphill, you see just this empty valley going up the hill away from you. And then at the very top, you see movement. And 4 people come slipping and sliding around the corner, following another person,
Okay, I guess I'll
sliding down the hill towards you.
I'll start making my way that way.
The rest of you see who? Give us a description of Ellie, please.
Okay.
Who did they see slide out of the side of this baggage car?
Well, she's pretty thin, but she's fairly young, and she's definitely one of those types of girls that's probably far too beautiful to be on her own, but kind of has a look of I don't care.
What are you wearing?
Just travel clothes.
And are you any obvious weapons on your person?
Yeah, I'm still holding my pistol.
Okay. So that's what you guys see. Coming down the hill towards you, you see a very well-dressed lady in red, packing a large box. You see the absolutely stereotypical cowboy, like you've seen a cowboy, this is one of them. And you see a tall, dignified man in a top hat. Just ahead of them, there's a woman who appears to be in her early 30s, and she's, I know, guys, I changed it slightly. You guys got to the cart last time, and I can see you, some of you looking at me like this isn't how the last session ended, but I had to do something. So you guys come skittering down the hill to find this young lady crawling out of the baggage cart. It is at that point that the other person, who you guys still haven't asked her name, steps around you, looks in, sees the bloodstains. You see the bloodstains as a group of 4 instead of as a group of 3 like last week. And that's when she says, "It escaped."
Well, after hearing all that, even though Alice doesn't know, I suddenly feel much worse about everything.
And of course, I'll just remind the other 3, you guys have no idea what happened to the baggage car and such, other than it came crashing down.
Did we do any kind of introduction when we saw Ellie, or was it just like, hey, stranger, cart.
Well, that's up to you guys. There's a space in there.
Well, I walk up.
Yeah, well, you guys are
I
skidding
would,
down the
hold on, let me. Okay, so how's she dressed? Does she look like she's below my station? 'Cause I need to know this. This is important.
wearing traveling clothes compared to what you're wearing. Yes.
Okay. Well, then Alice would just not even like.
I mean, let's face it.
I go
99.8%
straight to her.
of the time, the answer to that question is going to be yes. They're below your station.
I go straight to her and just like, my dear, are you okay? Do you need some medical attention? Are you all right?
The blood's not mine. I don't know whose it is.
And that wind is gone because wind only takes 10 minutes to heal. So.
I grab a cloth from my bag, give it to her. It's like, and ask her like, what is your name, miss?
I'm Ellie Reynolds. Who are all of you?
I'm Lucius Glory. These are my companions. Alice and Jet. We came down here to get our stuff in the back of the buggy, and then we found you here.
If I were you, I don't know if you should go near there. There's something dangerous that just killed 2 people.
Ah, that would
Perfect.
explain.
At that point, the lady who was with you guys looks at you and rushes over to the cart, or over to the baggage cart.
Alice will, tugging her big box in tow, and pulling out a little journal and a pen, will, she'll say, "Why are we wasting our time talking to this one when there is a story right over there?" And she will follow her over there.
Yep.
I'm gonna walk behind, but as I pass Ellie, I'm gonna be like, "Pay her no mind, ma'am. I don't quite know. I don't know." And I just walk.
So, at this point, you as a group turn and look at the cart. Ellie, you've seen this already. You know where the bloodstains are. You heard the sound. Are you going to tell them at all what you saw? Or, sorry, didn't see?
Well, there was some sort of creature. It was scuttling. I heard it kill those 2 people, and I was hiding, and I thought it almost got me, but then I guess it got distracted and dragged them out. I didn't get to see what it was.
Most peculiar.
I wonder if those were the tracks we saw.
I would say so.
I'll turn to the woman and I'll say, "So exactly what the hell escaped?"
I never got to see it.
You were talking to the lady that came
Yeah,
with
I was
you?
asking
Oh,
the
yeah,
woman.
okay.
It's
Yeah, you
like,
guys
"Oh,
are standing. You
it's
say
escaped.
that. Yeah,
Really?
she says,
What it is?"
I guess there's no more point in lying. Yeah, we don't work for the museum. Didn't. And she looks at the bloodstain. Didn't work for the museum. I'm not from the South. I work for the agency, and that was a stone cold killing machine. You ever heard of Huskers?
Have I ever heard of Husk?
Yeah, I don't know. Have I?
What would we roll for? A certain knowledge, perhaps?
If you had professional knowledge of anatomy or something like that, probably the most likely one you would roll would be survival. Use survival rolls to see if you have heard of such a thing.
Okay, let's see.
I ain't got no surviving skills.
So yes, you could roll 1d whatever your smarts are and subtract 4.
Yeah, my smarts are 1d10. So can I just roll that straight from the thing and then subtract?
Exactly. Yeah, 1d10 minus 4.
I'll just
So you
roll
always
my.
roll if you don't have the skill.
I'll just roll my smarts since I don't have a specific survival. Yes.
That's
Yeah, so you just roll 1 of your smart
Okay.
and subtract 4.
oof.
So it's 3d12.
No, it'd be 1d12.
Just roll
Oh,
one
sorry. Let me.
because you don't have the skill. Yeah.
Wait.
So that's a 3. That's 0.
Pin. I've got pin. Fuck. Jet survives by shooting, not.
I don't have to know it to shoot it.
So out of wow. Okay.
We're all morons.
She looks around and she says, "No, you've never heard of them. Imagine a. Well, I guess the easiest way is a spider bigger than the width of your arms. Instead of eyes, it's got little wiggly stalks.
Oh no.
They Well, that's not the worst part. The worst part is they plant eggs in bodies and reanimate the bodies as a sort of shell for their young.
Oh, I don't like that at all.
We cannot leave this out here.
And why exactly do you have this?
Well, the thing about a good lie is it's always based a little bit on the truth. The Boston Museum sent out an expedition and they captured this thing. Only 2 of the people in the expedition survived and they refused to accompany it back east to Boston. So they hired the agency. Me and... She looks back at the stain.
You knew those people?
We were hired by them. The agency is a national, like Pinkertons. It's like a detective agency, but they will do anything for money. And these 2 were hired to transport this box to Boston.
I'm gonna. What did he look like, perchance?
Big fella. Tight suit.
Mainly, and I'm mainly looking to see if it's the guy that kept walking.
Yeah, as soon as
kept
she
getting
says,
up and-
yeah, as soon as, like I said, first 2 lines are big fella, tight suit. Yeah.
Okay, so it's the guy that kept getting up and going to the back, and like this is. They were pretending not to be together. That's who. Okay.
Exactly who this is. Yeah. Yeah. She says to you, he had a pacifying spray. It was supposed to be good for 6 hours. He said it lasted less and less time every time he used it.
Did it smell like smoke?
Yes. Did he use it? How did it?
It barely lasted an hour.
I thought he was just afraid.
I turn to Ellie and I'm like, is it still in there? Is it gone? Is it?
It dragged them off and left. To be honest, after it nearly killed me while I was hiding in the box, I didn't want to stick around.
It's probably gone then, and I hop right in the cart and I'm looking for my weapons because
Okay.
I ain't got
Absolutely.
time for nothing else.
I go in as well and I search for the possible way to find the device that they were using.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, inside the baggage car, that's the 2 of you. What are the other 2 doing?
I'm not liking how this is going, so I'm gonna try to find my Winchester.
So you guys head over to the weapons rack, and those of you that are going there directly, and the young lady goes with you. I'm not going to call her the young lady anymore. She finally introduces herself because you guys won't. She says, I'm Laura, by the way.
Oh,
And she
Alice,
goes
Alice
over-
jots that down.
She goes over to the weapons booth with you guys, and there's a small lock on it, but it's just hanging there, open. Open up the case, and your weapons are all there, except Laura is looking. There should be a little. I had a gun case in here.
Is it this black case here?
Oh yes, Thank you. May I?
Yeah, of course.
and she takes it from you and undoes the strap and opens the top, and there's this huge pistol in there. And it takes you a second to realize when she pulls it out, it's got 6 barrels around a central tube. And there's a leather strap off one side that drops down over a foot. And you can just see the tips of bullets peeking out of that strap. There's got to be 30 or 40 rounds.
That's a fancy gun.
It's a Gatling pistol. At the agency, it's a standard issue sidearm.
How's it handle?
Not well, to be honest. The first round or two are okay. After that, it's just sort of a crapshoot.
Yeah, I figured.
But it will keep people down, I tell you, for providing cover. Oh,
That I believe.
Yeah, I got my
I,
own ways of keeping people down. I pull off my shotgun.
your shotgun, and you just start loading up rifle, shotgun, ammunition, making sure everything's ready to go.
I just look at these gun crazy guys with a bit of a distaste. Like,
Polish
Alice
shovel.
a 76 Winchester that is like, it's probably the most beautiful weapon you've ever seen.
Hand carved wooden
Yeah.
stock and gold plate and silver filigree and her name and your name, or no, you're so vain. That's your name and it's
No, it actually has. It says. Hold on, I can't remember. Hold on.
okay. There's a name that you guys, because it's in the holster, can't quite, or in the sort of the sheath, can't quite see yet.
No, it says Lewis O'Hare. I couldn't remember what a name it's made.
Okay.
His name.
All right. Yeah, chased into the wood in gold and silver filigree.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Who did you guys say you were again? It's a lot of weapons for just out here.
Listen, ma'am. As far as I understand it, I'm just a cowboy after a real bad man trying to make sure there's a little bit of justice in this world. This lady here is a photographer and quite well to do. And this man likes to bury people.
I'm an undertaker, thank you.
Oh, that's slightly better than just burying people.
I don't know much better than you at this point, ma'am. It's been a couple days at the most.
He really likes that shovel. Honestly.
He's good at fixing you up too. I'm trying not to accidentally adopt your uppity southern accent. I really think he's a fine man.
Also,
Okay, I'm trying to
how's
stay.
your bandages, by the way?
Holding up. And I just pat my gut a little bit.
Oh, I wouldn't do that.
That's one of those cowboys, right? He wouldn't tell you even if he was hurt, right?
I look through my box, just look through my box to see if like everything's here. So like,
Absolutely everything you guys had with you is in this baggage cart that you didn't have carried on your person. Nothing is missing.
excellent.
You very quickly, especially with Ellie's help, figure out what happened here. Something came out of this box, killed 2 people, which is a little odd because you can only kind of account for 1. Dragged them outside the cart. Now, you guys all went in the cart. So yeah, as you're sort of finished searching that and you realize like you've pretty much got everything out of here, Laura says, we need to get back up to the train before dark.
Well, if folks don't mind, would I be able to tag along?
Absolutely, come with us. Did I find the device that was that they were using to?
Oh yes, give me a searching.
Okay. Searching. Let's...
Meanwhile, as you guys step out of the cart, back outside into the light, thin bit of snow that's sort of left, it's late spring. There is, now that you look down, a disturbance right outside that door. Yeah, you do not find it. So you guys, you're as you jump down, you're looking. There's a fairly large flat spot. There's just a pink trace of blood, but from there's clearly a set of like heel marks dragging away into the trees. Looks like somebody was in boots was dragged up the hill. And on both sides of that, whereas when you were coming downhill, it was one row, like a person walking on stilts, this is like two. So there's a row on either side going, and the drag marks up the middle. Those rows are about 8 feet apart.
8 feet apart.
The other thing you notice when you step out is the caboose to your left.
Is it smashed?
It's all smashed down. Yeah.
I'll turn to, I'm sure her name was Laura, and say, does that look like some kind of track your evil cargo might make?
I told you to imagine a spider 8 feet across, wider than your arm span.
That ain't natural.
To be honest, I didn't want to imagine it.
We won't have to for long.
It is
That's encouraging.
natural around here. We have to get back to the train before dark.
Wow. We should grab our stuff and head back to camp.
You'll see Alice, like, she looks at her camera and she looks at the hill, and you see her go,
Oh,
Could I try to tinker something, maybe like with wheels or something, to like see if we can like me and Jet could carry our stuff upward up the hill?
Sure. Yeah, there's some equipment here. So just give me a straight tinkering roll and see if you guys can sort of rig something up.
Okay, let's see.
There's lots of busted slats and things you could try and make a sledge out of. It's still not going to be easy. You're still hauling weight up the hill, but at least 2 or 3 of you could pull at a time.
while he's doing that, I'm gonna turn to Miss Laura and say, "Now, ma'am, I thought you said that we couldn't leave this thing out here, and that really wouldn't be my preference anyway. So, why are we headed back? What time of day is it? Also,
It's now mid-afternoon.
yeah.
That's her point. She said, we cannot hunt that in the dark. We can't see, and it can. We have to hunker down at the crash site. Oh, there's all those other people up there too. We can't leave them unprotected.
Agreed.
Alright.
And then tomorrow morning, we go and kill it.
I'll look at Jet and I'll say, well, I suppose the nice thing is it's not very good at covering its tracks.
Yeah, as long as they're still there in the morning."
Roll the 13.
Yeah, you managed to slam together a couple pieces of rope and some wood and, make basically like a sled that you could put your stuff on. It makes it slightly easier, but you are still hauling a lot of stuff up a steep hill in the snow. So,
Jet, I'm gonna need your assistance.
Sure, partner. And I help. What are we? We're taking our stuff up.
mhm.
Okay.
So on that note, I need to ask one of you and see if you can figure out which one. How many pieces of luggage do you have in
Hey!
this car?
Look. Alice has, that was in the cart. She had her camera, and then she had like a personal bag that she had with her, kind of like a carry-on.
Okay. So
And she
there's not
also
a.
she had 2 bags in the.
Okay, so yeah, you are probably not going to be able to convince these guys to carry that up the hill. So, I mean, for practical purposes, it's probably just closed, but I can imagine Alice would be a bit pissed. So she's gonna have to do something.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry. We can try to get it back tomorrow.
She's not even having this argument right now. So she will kind of take one of her bags into the thing and put it in there, and she'll dig, and she's gonna dig through it and pull something out
Okay.
and pocket it, and then she'll zip it up and walk back out.
Okay. The rest of you gather your gear, and I mean, you're all sort of in various ways. You're used to traveling, so your stuff backpacks up pretty nice, and you get your gear together and start struggling your way back up this hill. Anything you're doing on the way?
Um,
Go
I'm asking Laura questions.
Okay, so you're going to do that. The others?
Well, I'd also ask Laura a few questions about the device they used, what chemical compounds or whatever.
Okay.
More description about it.
Yep. And the others? Jet and Ellie?
If they're all crowded around Laura, then I'm just gonna ask Ellie, be like, so, why were you back there anyway? We had a hell of a time up at the front of the train when everything blew to shit, but
Well, I think I had quite the adventure when it went to shit, and I went caravanning down a hill as well
yeah.
in a crate. There was someone less pleasant after me who believed I owed him something I didn't. He's a bit of a powerful person, so I figured might as well hide in a train and get away.
Well, ma'am, as long as you're riding in my crew, I'll make sure that nobody like that ever comes around. I don't like gentlemen like that, or ladies. I don't discriminate.
I'm a barmaid, I'm kind of used to it, but you gotta do what you gotta do when it comes to some people who have a bit too much money and are a bit too interested.
Yes, ma'am.
How did you guys meet up with Laura? She seems to know a bit more about all these crazy stuff.
Well, once everything kind of went off the rails, so to speak, we were contemplating the next course of action, some of us more than others in many ways. And he just kind of shakes his head. But she was very, very adamant that she needed to get this baggage cart, and I guess now I know why. So we've got a few people up the hill still up here to take care of, and some people to bury, I guess. I don't know what his deal is. He's a nice fella, though. Patched me up real good. Arm's still a little hurt, but
What happened there?
I got shot. It happens. Yeah.
It does?
When you're in my line of work, it sure does. More often than I'd like, but
And at that point, you notice there's a little tin star on his vest. You wear that publicly, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like under, but yeah, it's still there. You can
Yeah,
see
sort of
it.
at that. Yeah, you see the glint and kind of, then maybe that's what he means.
Well, good to have someone like you on my side then, than against.
Yes, ma'am.
And he is a walking arsenal at this point.
Now that he's got his stuff back.
Yeah, I got that from the
Right.
shotgun.
Shotgun, pistol.
Oh yeah. So I
At least
have
what
to.
dynamite used to be.
I miss my dynamite. Marshall Kevin, I have a question though, because I really did not know how to think about this. If we have horses, would they have been sent ahead on a separate train? Would they have been on a cart in this train?
I've been avoiding asking this question because I
need
don't
to
want to know.
Yeah, what we're going to do is you come into possession of those horses when you get to Paradise Township, but you don't know that yet. Well, I'm not don't take them off your sheet. You just don't have them at the moment.
Gotcha.
I got you to buy horses just so we can take them away.
Well, yeah, and then you left them in Denver. That were in Dodge City.
Well, see, mine.
That's actually
I would have a place to leave mine with Miss Kitty and
yes.
and Marshall.
I actually keep a running tab of how many horses my Dungeons and Dragons parties go through. Usually dozens by the end of an adventure. Anyway, back to this game. You guys are having that chat at the back, and slightly ahead of this, the three of you. We've got Alice, Lucius, and Laura.
Laura.
Yes,
All
that's it.
everybody
I'll
has
get
an
all my-
L in their name.
What happens when I leave? Just 1 second, I forget everything. So the three of you are walking ahead, and she is very distinctly looking side to side as she's walking along.
Alice would be asking her stuff like, obviously, investigative journalist questions, like
Mhm.
where did you find this thing? How how do you think this happened? Because obviously it was there's some like kind of radioactive chemicals or something that this thing ate, and like that's what caused it to to be so big. Trying to figure out what happened, where it came from, where they were taking it, and why they were taking it there.
Well, there was the expedition, and they went into the mountains west of here, and they captured it. They knew they were out there. There'd been reports, but this one was finally captured. 8 of them went out to do it, and only 2 of them came back, and they absolutely refused to move it one more foot. We were sent by our employers, the agency, up into the middle of nowhere in those mountains, given a squirt bottle full of smoke and a cart to move this huge, heavy thing on. And we had to get it back to the Boston Museum. We were told the smoke would last 6 hours.
Why was it going to the museum? What would a museum want with this deadly creature?
Research mostly. They have a chemical weapon that they use to defend themselves, and they'd like to learn more about that.
Fascinating.
Is that Alice would say, what is this monstrosity?
You keep referring to it as that. They're everywhere, darling. That's their home territory up there. There's one every mile or 2.
The hell are you talking? Okay,
They're an apex predator.
just like it's normal. Okay. Mm-hmm.
I'm just like fascinated by like the description of what it does and stuff like that. So I'm like, it fascinates me. Is there other ways that it kills out of curiosity?
It's basically a giant spider, so it's got this spray that it uses, and then it attacks with its fangs.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the chemical compound you were using, the smoke?
It's exactly the same as the beekeepers use. It's designed to pacify them. It basically stuns them for a while.
But much more potent, I'm assuming.
Oh yes, much more concentrated.
What exactly does this spray do when it comes in contact
With you and me, it would just make us cough. But with the husker, it's supposed to put it into a stupor. It's supposed to almost knock it out. But if he was right, if it was lasting less and less time, you said the last batch only lasted an hour? She turns back to Ellie and asks.
Yeah, I just was looking around the storage unit or the luggage carts, and I can't have been looking for more than an hour when it started waking up.
How many times did he squirt it?
Just once, maybe twice. I wasn't really paying attention. I was too busy trying not to get noticed, to be honest.
It was supposed to just be one spray for 6 hours.
So it developed sort of an immunity, perhaps?
Definitely. We need to kill it.
Is there anything that we should know that would help with that?
In the morning, we can't do it at night. It can see in the dark. In the distance, you hear a wolf. Slightly closer and slightly lower down the hillside, you hear another one answer. She says, there's those two. And she kind of quickens her pace. And the more this goes on, make... Yeah, make a streetwise. Everybody make streetwise checks for
Oof.
I have no idea.
me. Nope.
1d6
That would
minus
be
4.
9 minus
Oof.
4.
Yeah.
Street. Let's see.
If you don't have it, one of whatever your D smarts is -4.
Yeah, so mine would be 5.
Okay, so one would be -4 to that.
That's a minus. Yeah, that's a -3. Yeah, you guys can't read anything off of her except that she speeds up and starts sort of pulling ahead of you guys. The same thing she did on the way down. She just starts to step forward and move. Alice, you got the highest roll.
Yeah, I got a 5.
I mean, as low as that is, her accent's fading.
Huh.
When you met, it was quite southern, not as strong as yours, and a lot like the voice was a lot weaker, but it's fading. And she's starting to walk, like she's told you she's an agent of a very, and then she's starting to it's starting to come through. The facade that she was wearing on the train is
Mhm.
starting to fade.
She's dropping her cover, basically,
Yeah.
kind of slowly.
And she's got one hand on that massive Gatling pistol, and her eyes are just scanning professionally back and forth as she heads up the hill.
Hmm.
The rest of you following behind, pulling your baggage. Which means it's a pretty quiet trip back. You guys are huffing and puffing to get up there, and you get back. As you get close, you see a fire in the distance, like a campfire. So it appears that the hillbillies are good for something. They seem to at least have gotten the campfire going. As you get closer and closer, you see in that campfire the glint of a couple shovels flinging dirt up into the air. And as you get even closer, you start to see not so much a grave as it is a trench. And it kind of curves. It's kind of S-shaped. It's about chest deep.
Well, they certainly tried.
Hey, there's them folks. They're back. Hey, feller in the hat. Look, we dug you a hole.
You certainly did.
Is this 4 holes?
No, that's one very, very long S-shaped one.
What's an S?
Right. Okay. Why do I try? Why don't I take it over from here? I give them a bit of compensation, like I promised, just a little bit of something. Just
Yeah, a couple bucks. Yeah.
yeah. And I so what I do with the S shape is just kind of like fill in the gaps a little bit, just to make 3 holes in a sense. It's like, well, it's
Sure.
nothing.
It's going to be a couple hours work, but you can make this acceptable.
Yeah, and I'll get onto the bodies, and they're probably looted by now, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody seems to have their stuff openly visible, but yeah, all their weapons are gone. There is the one that the camera equipment exploded and blew the big chunk of glass bottle into. He's one of the very few that they didn't touch because it's a mess.
Well,
But
check that one out. That's the
as
one
you
that
grab
shot
him-
me. I said I was going to make him pay for my uniform.
As you pull him out sort of from behind under the tree that collapsed on him at the end, you pull him out and look down. He's wearing a vest of some thick, almost rubbery material that looked like it kind of absorbed some of the damage.
I'll take that.
It's I mean, it's finished. It's been, the impact has cut a hole in the center of it. It didn't work, but it appears to have reduced the amount of damage, but it's wrecked.
Can I don't know, repurpose it of sorts, tinker with it later, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, you can shove it in your backpack and try something with it later. So yeah, wrote right in broken body armor.
I'll do that and proceed to work. When
Sorry.
I have time, I also would like to just kind of see if I can tinker on like making that that chemical compound, but in my own kind of
Yeah,
Wait.
what you need isn't going to be here.
it's not gonna be here.
You're
Okay.
up on the side of a mountain, so yeah. Besides, it's going to take you hours to fix these graves.
Fair enough.
So the rest, as you get back, it's already getting evening. It's not dark yet, but it's close. The sun is sort of just above the horizon, starting to set. The hillbillies are there. The family is there. A couple other people. The princess is there. Who's missing? When you finally get back and do this count, the two people who were in the caboose are still unaccounted for. The agent is missing. The conductor is missing, and the two people at the front of the train are dead. They're not missing. They're dead. The engineer and the coal man, and the cook.
Yeah, I was going to say, what about the cook?
He is the only one of the train crew who is left alive. And he's actually sitting at the fire with a bunch of open tin cans beside him and a pot, and he's obviously scavenged off the train out of the food cart, and he's making food for everyone. When you get back, he says, yeah, we ain't got much. Maybe 2 days worth. We were supposed to be in Denver tonight.
Far away from Denver.
Close on 100 miles.
Well,
60 miles back to Dodge City.
we may have a bit of a bigger problem.
Than that, and he looks out at the wrecked train hanging over the wrecked trestle.
Yeah, bigger than that.
I do not like the sounds of that, ma'am.
You shouldn't.
I think I just make this fire a little bigger. And he starts shoving out more logs, trying to create some light to fill out this area that you guys are in.
Well, and that I'm looking at the train. So did the front fall off? Is it just hanging? How many carts are still left on the track?
Okay, so what you've got, starting from the front, the engine is all the way down to the bottom of the gorge, and it hit the ground, and that's what stopped everything from coming over, because attached to that is the coal car like that, and that coal car just gets to the level of the tracks. Then there's the sleeper car, which is tilting. If this moves, that's going over, and then the next two cars were the cars that you guys were sitting in. Then there's the food car, and the rest of the train is at the bottom of the hill, smashed into the tree.
And the bridge is just gone, right?
Gone.
Like,
There's like 50 feet of bridge missing over this trestle.
All right. I am
There ain't gonna be no more trains up here.
Is there, I look at Miss Alice and I was like, you seem to know a lot about, things. What would be a way to keep these last few carts from rolling down this hill? Could you work something up out of that? Maybe we could unhitch from the rest and it might fall. But if we could have a couple carts, that would at least be somewhere indoors. We could stay for the night, because I don't know about you, but I don't want to scare these folks, but I don't want to be out here with all that. I think you're muted.
oh, sorry. Well, it seems to me like if we detach them, they're gonna go right down with the baggage cart.
No, that's what I'm saying, is that would there be a way to maybe block the wheels in the back, like on the last back cart, so it doesn't roll down the hill, so that we can have a couple carts? Then we detach from the front few, and maybe they fall into the canyon, maybe they don't. But either way, we have a few carts that we know won't roll down the hill and won't go into the gorge, and we have a safe place to sleep.
Do you know how heavy that train is?
I do. I also know that
Take a big old something to stop that from going back down that hill.
Am I with him or are you still working with?
You guys are all within earshot. You can't dig a hole in the pitch dark, right? So remember, in this game, you're all human and nobody's got dark vision.
Right.
So if you step outside of the circle of firelight, you are blind. So I assume that, there's no need to assume the hillbillies would not have gone off into the trees to dig holes. They did it where they could see. So
Yeah,
you're
that's fair.
fairly close. Yeah.
Maybe a little access system that could help. I'm not sure.
Meanwhile, Laura's kind of doing a perimeter walk at the edge of the fire, just looking into the darkness with her Gatling gun drawn in her hand.
I'm trying to.
Well, while you guys think,
Yeah.
I will reward you for what you have already done, because you have accomplished some things. You can all have one white chip for helping the passengers. You didn't leave them in a lurch. You healed them and you made sure they were safe before you left. So you can all have one white chip for that. And you can all have one red chip for defeating the bad guys. So if I'm not wrong, Lessamax, that puts you at 9 chips already. So
I better cash in a bit.
either start using them to save your life or start cashing them in between games. So
Yeah. Can I put a few points in now or like maybe during the break?
that's always between sessions.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I guess. Okay. I talked to Alice, like maybe between our minds we could like think of something to like figure out the problem here. What do you think?
Can I do some kind of check to see if like trying to read through and see what I think it would be, but I don't know.
You tell me what you want to do, and I'll tell you what the check is.
I kind of want to just see if I think there's any way to do what this old cowboy wants to do.
What Jet wants you to do? Give me a tinkering roll. Just this.
Tinkering.
Yeah, you looked before too, because this is the second time you've kind of tried to figure out either how to get one of these to roll or how to get one not to roll.
Yeah.
This time given how steep this track is, it would require like something welded to the rails to keep it from sliding down. However, it does appear to be relatively stable. It's not like the sleeper car isn't rocking back and forth anymore.
Yeah.
Could I attempt the same kind of tinkering?
You're still digging a hole, man.
Oh, that's true.
you are digging holes basically until well after dark.
You underestimate how long it takes to dig a hole, I think.
They were only chest deep, and you had to fill some gaps in and go down another 3 feet, and you got one shovel.
Well, and I guess Alice will tell Jet, like, look, it's not gonna work. And I'll say they do seem to be stable, but it's a risk either way. It's a risk if we stay out here that we're gonna get eaten up by all them wolves and that big dumb spider. And it's a risk if we go in there that in the middle of the night we just gonna go careening down the valley.
I mean, maybe if we all take watch, not sure I'll be awake, so
I certainly will be.
And she's gonna say, well, I think that these lovely people would just love a performance. And she's gonna do what she does and impress people and sing by the campfire.
Sing. Okay, I was going to ask you what particular skill do you have? You're singing.
Yeah.
You don't have to sing for me. It is role playing, not acting. But what kind of song are you singing? Unless you want to, you have. If you have lyrics, sing. But other than that, tell what song is it?
Alice, I imagine, she went to she went to an art school.
Mhm.
So she would probably, be more of the classics kind of a singer. Not necessarily opera, but more of a classical nature.
Wonderful. Give me a performance check. I mean, you're out here in the wilderness. There's, all the sounds of nature around you. The sun is setting in glory behind your red hair, and you're backlit, and it's well above average. You think it's excellent.
Of course.
The reaction were you to look for other people for a response, which is unlikely, but if you did, they are impressed, but they're not like opera singer impressed.
Yeah.
With that, we're going to do a very quick who's watching in what order?
I guess I'll take the first watch since I'm still digging.
Laura says she's not going to sleep yet. So
Jet's not going to sleep until he falls asleep. So he's just gonna light up a pipe, sit there and wait and just tell people, I'll fall asleep eventually, but I'll be on watch till then.
okay. Give me a spirit check, Jet.
Ooh, woo.
Knew this was coming.
Spirit.
Yeah, you last about an hour. It's been a long day, and you start to drift off. Next.
I can take second watch.
Okay, second watch, and then that leaves Miss Alice to go and have a good night's sleep.
Yeah, Alice is going right to bed. She's
With
like,
that
look, I cheered the people up with my singing.
With that order, but before we do anything else, we're going to take a quick 15-minute break at this point. We're going to get us to the top of the hour, and we will continue on with the sun going down and who knows what coming out.
Well, hooey, partners. Looks like this team's coming together pretty good, and it's already time for a critter hunt. We'll see how they do when we get back.
Jump on. Very special opportunity, Dan.
All right, I hope y'all got that break in there. Everyone feeling refreshed, got your popcorns, went to the bathroom, all that, because things are about to get wild here.
And with that, the sun sets behind the train crash. The shadows spread from the trees over the clearing, kept back only by the campfire, which the cook is feeding vigorous amounts of wood into, vainly trying to make this area of light bigger. A number of you, 3 of you, in fact, are up early in this evening. Laura is still walking a perimeter around, trying to keeping her back to the fire, trying to keep her night vision as adjusted as she can, with her Gatling hand cannon in her hand. Behind her, having finally finished digging, I'm assuming sitting somewhat closer to the fire, we have Lucius, and trying not to fall asleep, and unfortunately failing to do so, we have Jet. So Jet, you're fighting it off and you're nodding and you've got that, if I can just stand up, I can break this. If I can just stand, and boom, you're gone. And just down the black tunnel, the body left behind, just this infinite space in front of you. And then a small gray rectangle appears in the distance and rushes towards you, and you realize it's a map. and you get closer and closer, and the pages, the sides of the page disappear out of your peripheral vision. It's changed. It's not a map anymore. Now it's the country. You are dropping onto this part of the world at incredible speed, as though fallen from some object near the edge of space. And as you scream closer, there's a ripple in the ground, a bubbling, a sense of legs, infinite numbers of legs ripping through this somehow half dirt, half map that you've now stopped and hovered over. And from just where you know you really are in the world, spider after spider after spider after spider boils out of the ground. Tens, dozens, hundreds, thousands, and they start to spread across the map. Because it's a map again. And now as they go, they're eating the paper. And as they eat the paper, you see behind it black, infinite space. The world is gone. And you hear laughter. And it takes you a second to recognize it because it's so out of place. It's little Bart's laughter. And you wake back up next to the fire. The other two, make scrutinize checks for me, please.
Is that me?
Yep, yourself and Alice. You were both staying. Oh no, sorry, yourself and Ellie.
Yeah.
First and second watch. Yeah. Okay. And Lucius, waiting for the scrutinize.
Oh,
Yeah, Ellie, on your second watch, actually, I better wait to see what happened on the first watch first. And if you don't have scrutinize, roll me one of your cognition dice and subtract 4.
okay. 3.
Okay. The two of you start like a 3-cornered circle with Laura, and the three of you are just sort of rotating around the camp looking into the wilderness. You realize very quickly you can't see anything in this darkness. It is, with the fire this close behind you, your night vision is shot. Ellie, maybe at one point during this procedure, you saw a flicker of light off something in the trees. Maybe. But you guys finish your watch nonetheless. Next, because you're awake again, let's have one from Jet and from Alice for the rest of the night.
I'm lighting up my lantern.
Okay, yeah. And
'cause
start to...
I'm gonna
yeah.
nope on that.
As a big nope.
So yeah, I've got my lantern and I'm taking my watch because I've got nothing but bad feelings about this now.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, go ahead and both of you give me scrutinize or survival in this case. You're either staring or you're trying to figure out, if I was a predator, where would I come at me?
All right.
I'd like options. Multiple solutions to the same problem.
Well, they're going to be the same either way for me. So
I tried so hard.
So this is going to be this -4.
Okay,
Oof.
so yeah. With your lantern shining it around, I kind of gave some back because of the lantern. You definitely see a set of eyeballs in the darkness. They're about 2.5 feet off the ground, and they're green.
Where am I in reference to everyone else?
I assume like you guys, did you sleep inside the cart or outside the cart? I assumed you had slept outside the cart because the carts weren't that stable.
Yeah, I'm just sleeping by the fire.
I probably would have done the same.
Yeah,
As
so
much as Alice would want to be in her nice cush room,
you step onto the train and it goes.
yeah, the thought of it in the middle of the night careening down is just.
She steps back off. Yeah. Okay, so that's it. That's the scene. Then there's the fire. There's these guys around it. There's the rest of the people too that are being very quiet. You guys haven't really explained what's going on, but they've picked up on your fear, so they're just sort of cowering and waiting to be rescued. They're not adventure-y people. The feeling that you get. And yeah, you see this set of eyes in the darkness. You're standing on the edge of that ring of circle light, of firelight, and shining your lantern sort of into the trees.
And how far are they from me?
Probably 40 or 50 feet at least.
Okay. In that case, I'm just gonna Alice is awake taking watch with me, right?
Yep, by this point, sure.
I'm gonna be like, Miss Alice, it like kind of not super audible, but still just like, you know, loud enough for her to hear me nearby. You might want to wake the others.
Can I do a check to see if I see what he sees?
Yeah, you go over and he's shining I'm assuming you're keeping the light on it so you can, because as soon as you turn it away, you can't see, right? It's light reflecting off of eyes. So
If I sat it on the ground, would we still be able to see it?
sure, yeah.
Because
Jet wants his gun hands.
I immediately sat that down and started drawing my shotgun, and I'm waiting to cock it before it, because I know that noise might. I don't know.
Alice, give me just a straight up knowledge check.
Good. That's 4 D12s coming at you. Oh, that was not great.
Oh, you laughed way too soon.
I got 4, 1, 5, and 4, so 5 was that's great.
Yeah. So you look over and yeah, 2 green eyes, 2.5 feet off the ground. They blink. They occasionally move just a couple of inches either way.
And it's just one set of eyes?
With that, you start to look around and you can't see any. You'd have to pick up the lantern and shine it in other places.
Okay.
I'll get my lantern out as well.
You've got it sort of like for me, a lantern, so that it doesn't blind you, it's got a shield behind it, right? So it kind of lights that part of the world, but not.
Yeah.
So yeah, are you gonna look around?
Yeah.
You kind of pick up the lantern. You notice the light's kind of shaking a little bit. Must be the wind.
Yeah.
And you start looking around. Make a searching for me, because everybody's got that. And yes, Jet, you can as well.
Can I tell her something while she's picking up my lantern?
Of course you can. Your lips work.
I'm gonna turn to her. Now I don't know if this was around back then, so this is gonna be an interesting little bit to throw out there. But I'd be like, I remember my daddy used to tell me that if you held the candle right up next to your eye, you could see the glint of insect eyes. They called it spider sniffing. I remember this. This is a real thing. I'm not kidding.
I'm looking that up after. That sounds really bizarre.
What?
Flashlight, but yeah. If you hold it up, it lines up the reflection of their eye with your. I don't know. I think it might be magic. I'm not sure. Something about spider eyes.
With that help, as sort of tangential as it was, Miss Alice, you shine the lights around, and it's like, oh, for Christ's sakes, it's wolves.
Oh.
There's 2 or 3 of them. And you remember that Miss Laura, who is now calmly asleep beside the fire, told you that the Huskers have like a bunch of tentacles where each of their eyes is supposed to be. And that's not what you're seeing.
I'll be like, I think that it's just some wolves, which if I remember correctly from all Daddy is a he's well, don't you worry about that. But he's hunted, and I think that they would mostly stay away from the fire if we just don't antagonize.
Fair enough. And I lower my gun. Although we are stranded out here, and we do need food. So, well,
Are wolves really the thing you want to fight to get your food? And do you really want middle of the night gunfire to attract that big ass radioactive spider?
We are getting close to dawn. This is last watch of the night, so there's a sort of a pale hint in the east of the sun, not rising yet, but that pre-dawn light.
Miss Alice, I don't want to draw nothing to these folks, but you want your story, and I got to go hunt these things down.
The wolves?
No, ma'am.
Oh.
I'm talking about what you just said.
Oh, but that's fine. But I'm saying, leave the wolves be.
Sure.
We can go
For now.
hunt down this big spot. Man,
Ma'am,
and
I don't
she'll
want-
just sit the lantern back down and walk back to the fire.
Yeah, if I know that's all it is, I'll go sit back by the fire too.
Yeah, so you take, like I said, the light's starting to come up now, and at about this point, you can just start to see their outlines, the ones that are to the east of you, and they just start to drift away back into the trees. They were just watching. You were in their territory. You get the impression anyway. You were in their territory, and they were just making sure you weren't going to be an issue.
Yeah.
So the morning does come up. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I think that's true that they don't like fire, so they'll kind of.
Yeah, I mean they're not going to.
Were to happen, they would jump, but they're like, all right, let's.
There's like almost a dozen of you in this place too, right? So
yeah.
So with that, the next morning dawns bright and early. As soon as the sun comes up, the wind comes up, and it's coming down off of the hills to both sides of you, sort of into this valley, and then flowing down the valley and out into the plains that you came from before. So whereas yesterday was hot, and dusty, and sticky, today started off quite chilly. You wouldn't want to have to spend another night up here. It looks from the weather like it's going to get much worse.
I put on my warm clothes.
And as you guys have breakfast and get ready to move out, Laura comes up to the group of you and says, I misspoke yesterday when I said we have to go and kill this thing. I have to go and tell the museum, and more importantly, the agency, that it's free.
So, let me get this straight. Under your watch, the thing gets out, disappears, and then you just want to run off to safety and let your superiors know and let us deal with the problem? Ma'am, I do not think that's how this is going to go.
Two things, if I may. One, don't take this the wrong way, but I don't know if the four of you can kill it. And if you can't, and I go with you and it kills us all, then there's no one to warn the rest of the world. And two, she reaches into her little clutch that she's got on her hip and pulls out a wad of $100 bills on the table. Well, not, there's 25 of them. $2,500.
Yes.
If I can't appeal to your better nature, perhaps I can appeal to your wallet.
Ma'am,
After just saying we will probably die trying to kill it?
I didn't mean probably, I meant possibly. If there's the slightest chance, I have to let them know so they can send in the army if you can't do it.
Are you paying us to kill it or not to kill it?
Oh, I want it dead now.
She just don't want to get her hands dirty.
Ma'am, I don't need your money. I don't have time for none of this, honestly. I gotta go kill that thing before it becomes more a problem for everyone else.
I don't have a problem taking the money.
Of course not.
What is that supposed to mean?
Trust me, I don't need your money, darling.
Ellie,
All right.
there's $2,500 sitting on the table, and the Undertaker just said he wants it.
I'll agree to help kill it if I get part of it.
Absolutely.
You split it however you want. Just kill that thing.
I don't feel right taking money, so I'm gonna stand up and turn back, and I was like, if y'all really want to give me a share, just give me another stick of dynamite next town we're in. Then I walk off to go make sure my guns are all loaded up and taken care of.
Yep. Properly maintained and oiled and greased, especially in this sort of cold, wet weather. Absolutely. So, I guess, Miss Alice?
Alice is like furious. Like, you messed up and you're just gonna run off, and that's how you're gonna deal with this. Okay. And she's gonna say, I always knew that you bunch of agency fools were yellow bellied. And she's gonna
She recoils like you slapped her.
she's gonna she's gonna try to do an overall and convince her to send a message some other way and to come help deal with the problem that she's created.
Absolutely. Go ahead and give that to me.
Let's see, hold on.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't see it yet, so I don't know what I rolled.
You rolled a 12.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
yeah, except that she rolled an 11.
Okay, but I do have the stare, so I have +2 to
So
overall attacks as long as
13, yeah.
the victim is within 30 feet.
Mhm. Absolutely. So you give her the stare down, and she says, and she points at the other passengers and says, well, who do we send? If I come with you, who do we send? Which one of them can get 60 miles back to Dodge City?
Who all was there?
There's the Russian princess. There's a very well-dressed little round man who hasn't said a word yet. There is, your young Jacob, the elder of the church at the age of 16. There is Laura. There is another woman who hasn't said much, except you heard her earlier. She was in the cart with the lower classes. She had a very loud voice, and she sounded like she was from back east, but you haven't really spoken to her either. And then the family, the hillbillies and the family. And the boys are hitting each other with sticks, and they're now breaking the last couple of windows out of the train, and
Oh yeah, they're useless. But
cutting hoses and whatever they can destroy, they're just destroying.
and the thing is like,
Oh, and the cook.
I have no doubt in my mind that if we ask, some of these people would be willing to get the fuck out of here, and this would be an opportunity for them to do that.
If they stick together, yeah.
Was I in earshot of this whole thing?
Everybody is. This is a public conversation.
I'm still cleaning my stuff, but I look over back at Miss Alice and I'm like, Miss Alice, I don't understand. I don't know why it happened, how it happened, other than what we've been told, but I don't think it much matters. I don't know if her gun's going to be any more, effective than ours. I'm going to deal with this. I don't care who stays or goes, and I don't want to drag the lady into something she honestly don't want to be a part of. I don't need any of y'all.
She's already a part of it when she put that thing on this train.
I'll do it myself if I need to.
What if we trap it in the buggy? Go back there. You said it uses corpses and reanimates them, right? So that's sort of the bait.
Well, it took the two.
There
That
was
means
still.
it can
There's.
lay eggs in both of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, we better act fast before. But I think was there a few more corpses back in the buggy?
You were there. There was none other in that car.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
it's just the two that got
It's
killed.
just the two.
Right.
What
Um,
about that spray that you guys used to use on it? Do you still have any of that?
He had the sprayer himself. Hopefully, if we find him, we can find it.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, the cook pipes up, and he says, folks, you don't have to go all the way back to Dodge City. They know the rails broke, so they're going to stop sending trains. The closest place is actually down that valley," and he points down where the trestle is over, and there's a valley heading away. It's about 25 miles. A little place called Paradise. If we can get there, we can send a telegraph, let them know what happened, because they won't send nothing. There's been too many attacks lately. They won't send nobody, no more trains up here. Eventually, they will send an armed crew and a repair crew, but that could be days before they get that together. We can get these people and us to that town.
It would
Getting
probably
back
be
to
best
Dodge City's 2 days hard walking.
is the way
if
that
you
you pointed the
there's
direction
family
of,
there with kids. They should head out as soon as possible.
We could start some of the slow ones now, yeah.
is the way that he pointed the way that the like down the valley, the where the baggage thing and the spider are.
No, basically the track goes up the hill and across the trestle. The valley is underneath that trestle, so it's at 90 degrees to where you guys were coming from. Right, let me bring up the map.
Map.
Bang.
Look at that map.
So if we
It's a
scan
map.
down to the color map at the bottom, and you guys are right about here. If you saw that ping, right in the middle of Colorado,
Colorado.
sort of just over halfway from Dodge City to Denver on this map.
And we're on the colored map, just so everybody.
Yes, at the bottom. Yep. And I'm pinging a big purple circle as we speak.
So that's where we are right now,
Yes.
in the middle of that.
So you can see, yeah, it's a bad spot. It is 2 days, according to the cook, it is 2 days walk to either Denver or Dodge City. But just to the north of the track, just 25 miles to the north of this track, there is a small town, which he has told you is called Paradise, and they at least have a telegraph office.
Hmm.
And I like your idea, miss. We can send the slow ones ahead, maybe these, and he pauses for a second because he's looking at the hillbillies, and he says, "Fine fellas, could escort them down there. Y'all can keep women and children safe, can't you?" And they sort of, "Yeah, we can do that." That'd just leave the fit and healthy adults. Unless you want them all to go and we can just follow on. You can follow on after. You seem like you got something else you need to do.
I think it'd be better to send them all alone.
Yeah.
They're going, it'll take them most of the day to get there. Yeah, probably better to get them there before dark.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go with them.
We got something we have to take care of. But in the event that we don't make it out of what we have to take care of, we need a message delivered.
Giant spiders.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right, well, you write me something down. I'll take it because I ain't going to believe them if I just tell them there's giant spiders at everybody.
And I'll look at Laura and I'll be like, it's, you know.
Yeah, she's pulls out the company letterhead that says the agency. It's like monogrammed with her name on it, and she quickly scribbles out a page and an address at the bottom to send it to. So you're not only going to tell the railway when he gets there, he's going to tell the railway what happened, and the agency will be informed. So With that, Laura looks back at you. Give me another streetwise, Alice. I want to see how well you read her face.
All right. Oh shoot! It's okay. So it's this -4, whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
she smiles at
pissed.
you.
I'm too pissed to
Yeah.
notice anything.
She smiles at you. If you had been paying attention, you've done this smile yourself. This is the shut up and leave me alone smile. This is the okay, you got me smile. But it's just that very prim and proper smile. And she says, "Very well, I will accompany you.
And
Probably for the best."
and it will be
Nobody
nice to
wants
have
us to
somebody
complain.
who's knowledgeable about this creature with us too.
I don't really want to answer the questions until this is solved anyway. It's probably for the best. Thank you. Alice, is it?
Yes, charmed, I'm sure.
And she reaches her hand out to shake yours,
And I'll, do
which is her Gatling gun to the other hand.
yeah. And we'll do the, the lady of the Old West shake, where it's like, doo-doo.
And then she turns to the other three and says, "Well, shall we?"
Well, and before they go to leave, I'm gonna go up to Anastasia,
Mm-hmm.
the princess.
Yep.
Mail order bride.
Yep.
And I know I mentioned that I grabbed something out of my bag earlier. I actually grabbed two things. One was the money that I had in my bag.
I figured that one, yeah.
The other we'll talk about later. But I just pass her $100 bill, and I'm like, "Don't marry anybody you don't have to."
And she's quiet for a second, and she looks up at you and says, "I am not very good at this. Where would you go?"
Where are we going again?
You're in the middle of Oklahoma. $100 will get her anywhere on the North or South American continent if she's smart.
Well,
I trust
because
you.
of
Where would you run?
because of what I know, I'm gonna tell her that she might want to go north, because and I'll kind of lean in close to her and I'll tell her, I'll say, "Look, everybody in Texas is gathering their money to give to the Confederate States for the war. Something is big. Texas Rangers are hiring trackers and gunslingers. Something's about to happen. You got to get yourself somewhere the hell else."
Is place north of here called Canada, yes?
Yeah.
Do you think they like princess in Canada?
Honey, who doesn't love a princess?
Maybe I can find moose and squirrel.
And from what I hear, that Canada weather might be akin to what you're used to.
I do not know how to thank you. I have nothing to offer in return.
Darling, you can thank me by living in the best life you can, not under the thumb of any man.
You
And
tell
she
them,
just-
girl. I'm kidding.
The 100 goes down the bodice of
Of
infinite
course it does, because
courage.
never-ending pocket.
She gives you, just throws her arms around you, and in a very unladylike fashion gives you a huge Russian bear hug. She lifts you off of your feet with surprising strength.
Alice, of course, when she comes off the ground, she's still trying to be ladylike, and she's like, "Whoa, yeah, that's exactly." Like,
And then she gives you that second to put your feet back under yourself before she puts you back down. And she says, "If ever you are in Canada." And she just smiles, and you see a little tear in the corner of her eye, and she just quickly turns away and says in a very loud voice, "So we are going to this town paradise, yes?"
Yeah, there
Yes.
it is. Yeah. And so I'm just, satisfied. Alice will just turn around.
Oh, wait, one more thing.
Oh, God, okay.
Vodka?
Just this once. And Alice, just as a parting, I'm probably never going to see her again. Like,
Warm, it's cheap.
yeah.
I mean, it's skin temperature and it's cheap vodka, and you manage to keep a face, and you have the ceremonial sip and give it back, and it goes back into its lodging place.
Yep.
And she smiles before she starts to cry again and turns around and walks away.
Yep.
You just saved her from a fate worse than death.
Yep. You probably didn't see that one coming. I'm sorry.
I would like you to take a blue poker chip, please.
Oh, shit.
That's not quite legend, but that's close.
Look, man, I liked her. And I don't... Alice doesn't, Alice left home to get away from the scrutinizing eye of dad and men.
Yeah.
Marrying to be a wife, it's that.
Yeah, I can absolutely see how she would have identified with this lady.
Yeah.
So you guys, as you start to head down the hill, because the only place to find this trail is where it starts, at the crash site. You see the rest of the party under the cook seems to have sort of taken over. He's the last member of the train's company, so it's kind of his responsibility. You can see it. He's starting to order people around in the nicest possible way, like he's, like when the ferry's late and they offer you free coffee, he's trying to be that guy. And he's getting them moving, and he's looking already for a way to get them down the valley and off in the direction towards this town he's talked about. Meanwhile, Laura and the rest of you make your way back to the cart. And looking around, there is still snow. There are still prints in the snow. The baggage cart has smashed the caboose into the trees. It still remains as it was before. What would you like to do?
Suppose we should follow the tracks.
You do have that one set of tracks going off into the tree.
Yeah. Those are the same ones from last night, right?
The heel marks, with the stilt prints on both sides, which you now realize are spider leg prints.
Yeah, big giant spidey. What?
The area right in front of the carts is kind of chewed up a little bit. It's hard to tell what happened there, but there is just this one trail leading off. So go ahead, and anybody who wants to, well, let's put it this way. Anybody who's looking for tracks or wants to follow the trail, give me a tracking skill or a searching. You can do either one.
Okay.
Anybody who's keeping an eye out, sort of up rather than down on the tracks, you guys can give me a searching or scrutinizing.
Okay, I will do a search check.
Yeah, I would do search because Alice would be, the photographer, and her would be looking.
Yep, she's looking around. So who's tracking? That leaves Jet and Ellie.
Yeah, I was tracking.
Okay.
I was tracking. Not very well, though.
No, not very well. So Alice, you keep an eye out around, and you're watching as these guys, they're struggling. They can follow this trail, but they're struggling because in places the snow has melted and where the sun's hit, and it's hard to see the drag marks across the wet grass.
Yeah.
Eventually, they keep finding their way. Meanwhile, you're looking around to see if there's anything going on around you.
Yeah.
What you notice is another trail, another set of boot prints with the same stilt-like spider leg pattern around it, that up ahead of you, they've got their heads down. You can see it joins the path up ahead.
By joins, you mean converges into one, or it's like two side by side?
No, they were, the one you're on is, if that's going straight ahead, this one sort of comes in like this, and in front of you a ways, it's going to join onto the one you've got, and then it looks like the two of them sort of head off in the same direction.
I'm sorry. How many of them did you say you had on the train?
Just one.
Okay. There's two track marks.
And she starts looking.
And I'll point it out to her,
Okay, that works. You pointed out to her, and you get to the junction where the two tracks come together, and she kind of gets down and looks and starts searching and poking and muttering to herself. And after a couple of minutes, she stands up and says, "It made more than one troll."
Okay. Okay. Good. Good.
And as you guys proceed along, this happens 2 more times from the same side.
Like it went off and back and.
There are now 4 sets of tracks, all, one after another, that converge together. So it dragged 4 bodies up here.
Here's a question. So does this thing focus on human bodies, or just if it were to find like a dead wolf or something, would it?
It'll use whatever it needs to any creature that was alive. It just needs to. The eggs feed on the flesh from the inside until they hatch. But these are all human tracks. You can see the feet.
So it's all got like boot marks, like
all similar boots too. Would there
how many people were we missing from the?
And at the same moment, she says, "There must have been people in the caboose."
Well, good.
And you remember, yeah, there was 2 people in the caboose too, and you guys never looked. The trail is really easy to follow now, really, because it's 4 drag marks up the hill. Now that they've all come together, it's the trees. I mean, this is a game trail by this point, right? The trees are in around you at all points, and you can start to see ahead of you as you're climbing and climbing and climbing. The snow is almost knee deep by this point, and while the trees right around you are very thick and very heavy, you can see ahead of you a lighter area. It looks like you're approaching a clearing of some kind.
Best be vigilant.
I'm gonna pull my pistol out of its holster and just.
Yep.
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm
So you
having
said
my shovel.
So you said we're approaching a clearing, right?
Yes.
Like okay.
And yeah, Laura is Gatling pistol out. You see her reach up and flick a little brass button on the side.
So I'm gonna stop before we get to the clearing and find a spot just in case to set my camera up.
Yes.
Where I can get a good shot of like the majority of the clearing, because I feel like
So you get your I love this. You get your camera set up and you get down behind the hood just to frame the scene, right?
Yeah.
And you remember, if you twiddle this,
Yeah.
you've got magnification.
Yes, I do. That's exactly what I was.
I wanted to make sure that's what you were doing. Yeah, you can sniper elite moment where you just
Yeah.
zoom in. With that, give me.
Y'all don't estimate.
I will let you use your
analysis.
photography skill to make the check.
Oh, which is my photography skill?
Yep. The rest of you are feel free to make a survival or a scrutinize check. Either one.
I would tell them what I was doing too. I'd be like,
Yeah, you can see her set it up, and she's this magnifies.
this is what I do.
Scrutinize or searching or something?
Yep, either one.
Not good rolls.
You're basically trying to look ahead into this clearing, but it's above you, so it's kind of difficult. But okay, Jet, you notice. I'm afraid Lucius and Hannah, Lucius and Ellie, you guys are just like I don't know. I didn't really see much of anything. Jet, you notice that as soon as that field opens up, you're close enough now. The ground in almost the entire area is disturbed. Not the ground, the snow. There's hundreds of these stilt-like footprints in it. With that, I will put you guys on this map. need to add. Dun, 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 dun. I need to add Ellie.
Oh, there we are.
There we go. Yeah, you're on the left-hand side, about halfway up.
I had to get over there to.
For who am I going to use for? Let's do because you talked him into doing something that I wasn't expecting her to do. The lantern will represent Laura.
Oh. Yeah.
I don't have a token for her.
Surprise.
So it is. Hey, this is what
All right.
play this game. I'm not. We're telling a story. I'm not writing a book, right? Everybody gets input. I break my game. I love it. Force me to improv. Let's do this. So you guys are approaching this clearing. You can see the snow is torn up. Miss Alice,
Yeah.
you see as you scan across, back and forth, there's just a little something flapping in the breeze. And you zoom in, and it's a piece of cloth, and you zoom in a little more, and it's a ripped piece of cloth with an elbow sticking out of the snow.
And that's the
Out
Like-
in the clearing.
most important thing of like everything.
So right about here, I'm just pinging it on the map. If you
Okay.
see it, right about there's what appears to be an elbow sticking out of the snow.
I would have everyone like take a look rather than describe it. I'm gonna just let them see it and be like, okay, this is.
And yeah, you guys probably don't have. I mean, it's 1877. You probably don't have a lot of experience seeing things magnified, but it takes you a second to figure it out. But yeah, very clearly, it's like that much of an elbow sticking out of the snow.
Do you think that's one of the people the spider,
Right, you said it was ripped cloth, right? Too like.
Looks like, yeah. And as you zoom in again, you can see it is the same color as the same black and white stripes as the uniforms of the train crew. There is also, just to be perfectly clear about this, there is also a tunnel entrance at the back of this clearing in the rock wall. It suddenly goes almost vertical, and there's not like a mine tunnel, but more like just a crack in the rock that you can see goes in some distance. You don't know how far. I got line of sight on, so what you can see is what you can see.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't either. And
that-
at that, she'll take her Winchester off her back,
Mm-hmm.
but she's staying close to the camera.
So you're leaving the cameras set up?
Yeah, because if I get a chance to catch this thing on camera,
Mm-hmm.
you better believe I'm gonna
Yeah, I can understand that completely. Laura is, you hear, and you look over, and the 6 barrels of her Gatling gun are now spinning at high. A little tiny stream of steam coming off the side of the pistol.
I'm gonna say, Jet, you don't happen to have any more dynamite, do you?
No, ma'am. You don't happen to have any more of that magic whatever explosion you made, do you?
I could probably manage it once, but I don't know. It's a gamble if I can, because if I try to do it and it don't work, I might ruin all my chemicals.
We'll make it happen. And I slowly am stepping forward. I've had my shotgun, so I'm just, however, just gradually making my way forward until I won't go into where the little pitter patter spots are until I have a moment to look a little closer, but I'm going to go right up to the edge of it.
Yep, and as you get to that very edge, it's like the wind stops for a second, and that little piece of cloth just drops onto the elbow. And then it starts to move again, but you realize it's not the wind. And your eyes are trapped by other bits of movement, and your eyes flicker across this field as first one then another, then two more arms and a leg and a head up through the snow. They're staring at well, they would be staring at you, except the heads are just rolling around. And the bodies aren't moving like people. They're very jerky and they get up on all fours. They don't get up, they don't stand up like people. They get up on all fours. So they're on their hands and their knee and their feet. And they start to turn towards you.
Time to go find the combat page.
Hellfire.
That is most unnatural.
And with that, everybody roll me some quickness.
Yeah, boy.
Now I'm curious because
Holy
I haven't
shit.
had to do this yet. Do we do we roll guts at any point during this, or is that?
Oh, absolutely. You're going to roll guts on your first turn. This is,
Okay.
you know what this is. These things these are not people. This has got horrible things inside.
Oof.
I really rolled that low. Oof. Okay.
Where's my quickness? I know it. Oh, here it is.
Oh god, that's not Laura, is it? That 4.
Oh, jeez.
Oh.
Also roll for guts, you said?
When it's your turn. So we're just going to
Okay.
this now. So, Hannah, or damn it, Ellie. Ellie, you get to draw 2 cards from the blue deck at the bottom. Click on that and just deal yourself 2. The rest of you, I'm afraid, are going on the 2.
I
this
still
round.
can't click stuff over
Hey,
there.
I got a 10.
Okay, deal 2 cards. 2. There you go. There's
Thank you, sir.
I
I'll fix that. I'll fix that. Oh, Alice, yes, you get 2 cards as well. I didn't see your roll up there.
I can't click on it.
You can't either? Damn it.
No.
Okay, 2 cards to Alice. Anybody
Everybody,
else?
a
It's
little
it's not.
quiet.
It's just it's hidden behind something. And
Oh,
Yeah.
I gotcha. Yeah,
The icon's in front of it.
right. Okay, so yeah, you guys are the only 2 that got. So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Jet and Lucius and them are all going on the 2 count. The rest of you hover over those so you can see your cards as usual. Initiative starts with the ace.
got it.
Woo.
Aces, baby.
Excellent. You already had your rifle out.
Yep.
You see these 4 used to be humans. The first thing I need you to do is make a fear roll for me, a guts check, and I need you to.
You want me to throw my card out on the table?
Yes, please put your ace out there. Perfect. And then give me a guts roll, and it's -2 because this is the first time you've ever seen me.
That's a 5.
A 5. Okay, roll me 1d6, please.
Should I do keep 1? Do it.
Yes, please. Yeah. Roll 1d6 and just do the keep one.
Oh no, that's D4. Oh god.
9. Okay. You there's something about the way these things move. It's not good. You got the willies.
No.
Quite literally. You lose this action, and you kind of. This is. I mean, you are one tough customer, but you can't outclass this.
Yeah. Right.
So I need you. I'll roll it. Take. Oops. 5 points of wind as you kind of. And you
God.
lose this turn.
What a wasted ace.
Next, kings, queens, jacks, 10s. Stop me when we get to your card. 9s, 8s, 7s, 6s, 5s.
Yep.
Okay, you're up. You can see the range. Each space is 2 yards. So when you're figuring out range for things,
Okay.
and your pace on your character sheet is how many spaces you can move in this entire turn or this entire round. So if you had multiple actions, you could split it up. But if you ever move more than half of your pace in one turn, everything from that point on has a -4 penalty because you're running.
Okay, where's space?
That's on your very first page. Core.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Well, I guess I'll. Do I have to roll a guts check?
Yes, please. Right at the start of your turn. All right. This is nasty bad, but you kind of choke it back and no, this can't be allowed to live. So you are allowed to act normally.
Okay.
You are currently from the closest one. You are 18 yards away. That's to this purple one here, the one with the purple dot.
Yeah. Okay. I'll move here, I guess.
Okay, yep. That's only 4, so that's half or less of your pace, so there's no penalties on the shot. And that
Okay.
puts you within 10 yards, so there's no penalties for range. Go ahead and fire away. So roll your shooting skill with your weapon of choice. A 7. Luckily, you are nice and close, and there were no penalties to that. You do manage to slam it into it. So now go to the combat page and
Yep.
click on the damage for that weapon, and hit location as well. Oh, useful. Your shot absolutely slams. Like I said, the head's kind of dangling and wobbling. Your strike hits it right in the top of the forehead, and the head just explodes, just and has absolutely no effect on the thing approaching.
That's worrying.
Laura screams out, "There's nothing in the head!
You got that.
Arms, legs, and torso!" You guys can do called shots, but of course, it's harder. Luckily for you, the hardest thing to hit is the head, so at least you don't have to worry about that. So yeah, this one, its head just pops and explodes, but it has no effect whatsoever on the creature. That's your movement and your action. That was 5s, was it? 6s. 5.
That was 5s. I've got 2 5s.
Okay, you get to go again. Well, one thing I will mention, just particularly for Hannah, but to remind the rest of you too, on any one of your cards, you can choose to put it up your sleeve. You keep it, and you can use it at any time. But if anything makes you lose a card, you lose that card first. But other than that, yeah, you get to go again. It was superhuman speed. You reload and get the next shot ready.
All right.
It freaked her out. She didn't like that it.
It's like, oh god.
We didn't have these in the bar. Cockroaches were not this big.
No, I've only dealt with gross guys, not gross spider creatures. Shooting again?
Yep, shooting first, and then
Nope.
I'm afraid this one, it was quick, but it wasn't very clear. This one whizzes over the shoulder and pings off the rock face behind it. 4s. 3s. Everybody.
Yeah.
You
My
guys-
other card was I got an ace and a 2, so I got.
You guys can all go.
Polar
Oh,
opposites.
wow, you got a 2. Okay, so yeah, you guys can choose what order you're going in. They'll go last. Whoever goes first has got to make me a fear roll. First things first.
I'll go. So that's win, or no, that's guts. Which
Guts.
is
Yep.
all right. Let's.
Oh, Jet.
Well,
Here, roll me 2d6, please.
2d6. Let's see.
So yeah, that's keep. This is. I'll be nice. Let's do keep 1.
2d6.
Technically, it's a keep all, but let's do a keep 1.
Oh, keep one. Got it. Sorry.
Yeah, 2d6.
2d6.
We'll
Also,
only take the worst one instead of adding them all together.
My question too is, does tough as nails have any effect on this?
It will.
Okay.
I will give you one extra die, so roll another d6.
One.
I'm not sure if that's exactly how it works, but I don't feel like breaking this up to find out. So that's how it works right now.
Oof.
Didn't help. So on the bright side, you rolled real low. So you are you're lining up the shot, and you kind of when that head explodes, you just about throw up. So everything this turn is going to be at -2.
All right. And then I have a light wound in my left arm.
That's
So-
another -1.
So -3 total.
Eesh.
Is that does affect your movement?
No, doesn't affect movement. It only affects skill checks and such like that.
Okay. So
Until you're maimed on the legs, but
I'm
it
gonna
won't affect your movement.
choke back the whatever you want to
The
call it.
bile.
Yeah,
Yep.
right up here. Is this a bush or a tree?
It's just a little shrub. You can clearly see through it.
Okay, so I'm gonna
Around it.
line that up, and I almost threw up, but I got to make
No
this
range
shot.
penalty. Yeah, it's that one where you kind of throw up in the back of your mouth a little bit, and that's how you're forced to swallow it.
So I'm gonna line up my my shotgun.
Yep. No
Okay,
penalty for
do that.
distance. Or is that a 10 for distance? At a range of 10?
Yep.
Okay, so no penalty for that. So if it hits, it'll do a full 6d6 damage.
And
Go ahead and roll your shoot.
I roll shooting, and then it's -3, right?
Yes. Which is an 11, which is still at this range plenty. You step up, there's this flow as the shotgun drops into position. Your cheek drops down near the stock. You line it up, haul that trigger. It shoves your shoulder back. The cloud of smoke blasts forward. And as the breeze peels that away, it does 6d6. Keep all damage.
All right. So I just go into shooting and hit the die. Right.
Actually, because the shotgun has the varying damage, what does it say for your shotguns? Does it say 66
Yeah.
damage? Oh, in that case, perfect. Hit it and make sure your hit location is. Oh yeah.
Oh wait, do I need to do
It
that?
actually spreads it around. But wow.
Oh.
Okay. Divided by 5.
Whoa.
Yeah. So yeah, there's this when you guys see the smoke billow out from the shotgun, as the wind whips that away, this thing tries to almost stand up in human form, but as it does, the top half just slides off the bottom half, and these two halves, like the arms and the head on one side, blown up head, and the legs on the other side, start like twitching and just vibrating in the snow. This thing is going nowhere.
Okay.
Well then.
I believe that's my move now.
Okay, and give me a skirt check. Give me a fear check. Guts check.
Okay, gut check, got it. I'm quite good at it actually, I believe. I should have been good at it. That's weird.
Roll me 2d6, please.
2d6.
Yep.
Uh,
That's keep 1. You can use that macro at the bottom,
mhm.
and then just do 2d6.
Sorry, 2d6. On guts or
No, right down at the bottom of the page where it says the 3 yellow macros at the bottom of the page, the one that says keep 1,
not seeing that. Sorry, give me a second.
and roll 20. Right below where it says Marshall and Alice, and
It's not on your character.
Oh, right. Okay.
On the map.
right down there it says keep
Keep
1.
Keep on.
Keep on.
And just do 2d6.
No, I'm not seeing it. Could you roll for
Okay.
me?
Absolutely, yeah. Very lucky. Your fingers tighten down on the shovel. You start to step forward, and for just a moment, you're kind of frozen in your tracks for just a second. The dead, you're okay with. These aren't dead, and you lose half your movement.
Half a moon. Okay. So me and Alice are both are winded, right?
No,
No, I'm not. No.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought the next person. Okay. I'm just going to move 4 steps behind Jet, just to be ready with my shovel.
Because your movement was halved, this would count as running.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay.
So you move up to there.
Yep.
Anybody left with a card?
Yeah, I've got a 2.
A 2 as well. Okay. Go ahead. And Hannah, can I just get you to drop? You burned both your 5s. Can you just drop them out onto the table, please, so I can put them back in the deck?
Let's see. So have I like recovered by this point, or like what?
Yes, this counts as your next
Okay.
action. So you lost an action. Not a
So I guess Alice kind of seeing Jet like dismantle the one is like, okay, like, and I'm slow as shit because I got a big heavy camera.
And these other things are also quite a distance away from you.
Yeah. Well, I can't get close enough this turn to do it without taking a penalty.
Yep. It's -1 per range step. So if your range is 20, if you can get within 40, it's only -1.
Yeah, my range is 20.
And remember, each of these squares is 2.
So I think, would I be able to? Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, hey, that's handy.
Yeah, that is.
So I could just do it from where I'm at or
Yep.
could I get close enough?
For anybody who wants to measure, it's that little circle with looks like an upside down Q. It's got the thing sticking out of it. On the very left hand side of Roll20, there's a toolbar, and if you use that, you can leave it on snap to center, and you can measure any spot on the map, and it automatically does the math for you.
Shit.
Let's just do this for the last 20 minutes. Draw a picture for me. Draw a picture. Like watching it's like watching the kid.
I'm trying to think. Okay, so my pace is 6.
Drawing lines and
I only move 3.
Yep.
So would that get me? Okay.
Then you'd be there. So the closest guy would be exactly.
So that would put me right. From there. My range is 20, so I could do it from
That's
there
right. No penalty. Yep.
without running or. Okay, cool.
Precisely. So you only need a 5 to hit, and for every 5 above that, it'll do but even more.
See, look, she's real glad at this moment that she brought old Dad's gun.
Yep. And you bring it up to your shoulder, and you hear him say, "Breathe."
Yep.
And it kind of puts you off a little bit, apparently.
Didn't breathe enough.
Go ahead and give me a damage and location roll.
All right. She's still, she's better, but she's still like, woo. Oh, God. I don't know what happened. Oh, wait. Yes, I do. I just clicked on the wrong one.
Okay, so that's 3 wounds to the left leg. Okay. So this time, this shot hits it's kind of skittering sideways towards you, almost crab-like it's trying to get used to how to move this body.
Mm-hmm.
And your shot hits its leg, and it does a fair amount of damage. But one thing it does is kind of blows the human part off. And that sort of takes some of the damage away, and you see 2 large, not huge, these are just hatchlings, but these 2 sort of spider legs about 2 feet long separate out of where that leg used to be and start to...
Well, I don't like that.
It's hella.
So I can't do anything else though, right? Because I've did my move.
What's your rate of fire on your weapon? As long as it's
1.
Yeah, then that's your turn. Yeah.
Okay.
So anybody who has not gone yet gets to go now. You guys had 2s. That was no, just them. Okay.
Yeah. Laura needs to get Laura.
Laura, yes, let's do
Laura
Laura.
needs to get
She's just it's -1, -2, -3. Get closer.
Again, she created the problem.
Oh yeah. Let's do that for her. Yeah, that's the first one. Okay, she here like you've heard the Gatling gun wind up before this. You saw that little bit of steam. You see out of the corner of your eye a flash of brass as she draws it up and kind of leans into it, and then you see her pull the trigger, and there's a boom, 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 as about 8 rounds head downfield. The first 2 strike this one. The rest of them spray off against the wall behind her. But those 2 are going to do. I'll just do the same damage twice. Oh, okay. And 2 hit location. Just do 2 d20. That's
Whoa!
13 out of 12. I rolled them at the same time so I could get 2 locations. I just hovered over it, and I'm shooting in location 12 and 13.
But that's, I mean, still.
Yeah, the first, those 2 rounds just boom, boom into this thing. The first one rips most of the human off of the left side of the body, of the torso, and you see the shiny carapace underneath, and you see right where the shoulder would be this mass of writhing little black slimy tentacles where the eye should be. But that's all you see there, because the legs that were attached to that corner, the arm that was attached to that corner, and the legs that came out of them are gone.
Good. Very, very good.
The other shots ping, ping, ping off the wall behind her. Now they get to go. 5.
Ooh, they skitter quite fast.
That's as close as they can get. So.
And they don't have any weapons.
That's the weird part. I was just about to say, these, you can see them skittering towards you on all 4s or on all 3s in one case now. But they're still wearing their uniforms, although they're ripped and torn. They've still got pistols on their hips, but they're not drawing them.
Yeah. Well,
They're just in sheer, I mean, there's no human here anymore, right? They're
is
wearing
the one with the spray in this group?
You asked that of oh shit, what's her name? Laura. Yeah.
Laura.
She says, we don't know. We don't know. The big one can do it. We don't know.
So, but I don't. Do I recognize? Do I see? Like, are any of them him? The guy that I recognize from going back to the.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the one. You look around. The green is the only one. Yeah, we'll do the one that hasn't been hit yet. This one that's still furthest away from you. You glance over and you catch out of the corner of your eye. Laura's looking as well. This is the guy. This was her partner.
Okay.
Which may explain why she tried to shoot the other one.
Yeah.
So that's the end of that round. Let us everybody roll me some quicknesses. And I'll do it.
Where's that? There it is. Down.
Well, I'm not rolling very well today.
Well, nobody is. The only person that gets 2 cards this time is Ellie. Everybody else gets 1,
One right.
including the bad guys.
Can you?
So, deal. Ellie gets 2. And who else needs the belt?
I need 1.
1.
Oh, I drew 1. Am I not supposed to draw my own?
Oh, you can absolutely. It's just some of them I haven't got their character sheet set up correctly, so I'm just doing it for them.
Oh no, it's not. There's a name over it, right over where the draw button is.
Oh! If you
That's
change the zoom on your map until there's nothing under it, you should be able to get at it. But either way,
we'll figure it out later.
Either way, well, I'll figure it out between sessions. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, come on. Okay.
Oh, remind me to play poker with you someday. Aces, kings, queens, jacks. And you guys are drawing as bad as you're rolling. Tens, nines,
Yeah,
eights, 9.
I got a 9. Yeah.
Okay, draw that 9 out onto the sheet, onto the table so we can see it. And then what are you doing?
Oop,
Measuring.
I forgot I was still on measuring. I'll move to here and fire at this,
The green dot?
the green guy.
Perfect. Okay, go ahead and give me your shooting. And what weapon is this?
This is my Colt pistol.
Pistol? Okay. You're only 8 yards away, so it's got a range. It's a pistol. It's got a range of 5, right? So you will be at minus
It's got a range of 10.
10. Okay, so never mind. No penalty. Didn't run, and it's range.
Nope.
No, unfortunately. Wow. Yeah, you
This is
slip in the snow again. This
I
is
did
not your
one
day.
amazing headshot, and now I can't shoot.
Yeah, and you got close to this one, and the head's lolling, and there's a spider in there, and it's just, yeah, I'm afraid you missed, and you realize just as the shot goes whistling over it, it's real close, real close. 8s. Uh-oh. They got an 8.
oh good.
Oof.
Ooh, that's a little close.
He's on jet.
Oh yeah.
So.
I hate it when the DM says so. Right.
That's never a good sign.
Yeah.
That's when bad things happen.
Well, the first one, we're going to go with the green one first. This is, you never saw this guy, but given how big he is compared to the other two, and, the fact that you probably saw Laura looking at him, this is the guy that was in the cart. This is the big, heavy footfalls that you heard. And as he gets to you, he tries to climb you. And the first thing he does is attacks with his claws. Oops. I did it again. I did the damage before I did the attack. That's not how that works.
He's just so good.
I just know he's going to hit. So,
Yeah.
yeah, first attack.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh
so
well,
that
he
that
did
hit.
fine.
Yeah, and then the bite. Oh no, sorry. This is not D&D. They don't get multi-attack. So that one hits. It does a total of 1 wound to your right leg.
Okay.
And some wind damage. And again, just to clarify, wind is it's basically your will to fight. So you take 9 points of wind. If you get to
Ooh.
0 wind, you're essentially out of the fight. Not unconscious, just like too panicked, too freaked out to do anything. If you ever get to negative your wind, so if you had 15 wind and you get to negative 15 wind, if you do not have immediate medical intervention, you're going to die. So you take 9 points of wind damage from this thing driving its claw, its spiky. What happens is, like I said, it kind of climbs you, and then the end of one arm where the hand would be, the tips of 2 spider legs come out and drive into your shoulder and try and pull you down to the ground. You resist hitting the ground, but you do take this damage, this 1 wound, as the claws rake down your right leg, leaving a big gash and some damage, but it hasn't physically grappled. The next one is going to attack Lucius. Okay, with its claws. Just barely gets a hold of you.
Ooh.
And you
Hasn't
take,
rolled damage yet.
you take also 1 wound to the lower guts. So this time, instead of climbing you, it gets close and just It's very strange because you're watching the hands because you're used to humans, but it's actually the leg that comes snapping up and drives into your belly just above your belt.
Right.
1 wound and
Okay, let's see if I can fix that. Okay.
5 points of wind.
Oh my god. Okay. 1 wound and 5 points of wind. Okay, let me
Yep.
just put that in. Good gravy.
Jet, you're looking around. This one's right beside you. You just watch it drive its claws into Lucius behind you. You turn around and you just have time to think, well, at least this one's not on me. When this green, snotty, boiling, colored, slimy material just bursts from between the mandibles of the one facing you. And just barely hits you.
Can I burn a white fate chip to just nope that?
You certainly can, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want
I hadn't
that
actually
to-
rolled the damage yet. Do you want me to do that first?
Oh, are you allowed? I thought it was one of those things where you couldn't like
No,
no.
This is as when I tell you you've taken 3 wounds, you can say I'm burning a chip to make that 2.
Sure.
So, yeah.
I'll wait then.
So this hits you, and I have to roll a location on this because that's important. So this it spits and it kind of arcs, and maybe it's because it's young and it hasn't got this figured out yet. It slaps against your leg, and you can hear a sort of sizzling as it starts to burn your chaps a little bit, but it doesn't do any damage.
Oh, never mind then.
That's why I asked.
Thank you,
That's-
chaps.
Oh, good old chaps.
7s, 6s, 5s. 3 of you still got cards. 4, 3,
Team 3.
3 and 3. All right,
I
draw
got a
those 3s
4,
and then
sorry.
decide. Yeah. Okay. What suits? Okay, clubs. That's probably going to go last. Who? It goes spades, hearts. Sorry.
I can't
Kevin,
move.
I had a 4.
Oh, you had a 4. Okay. Sorry, you
Sorry,
get
my
to go
thing's
first
slightly delayed, so I'm a little
then.
bit.
Oh, no problem. No problem. I went too fast. I just assumed you all had 2s. So I got that 4, and what do you?
Some of us do just
This
have
thing just
twos.
ripped your shoulder to pieces, and it's trying to climb you. It's fallen down back on the ground now, right in front.
Okay, well, I'm still holding my pistol, so am I able to
Yep.
shoot it?
Oh yeah, yep. You point down. It's at point blank range, and you let loose. Go ahead and give me a shooting.
Oh man, if I miss point blank, I just need to retire my pistol.
It's wiggling and twitching and trying to climb you. And you're like shit. Pull the trigger. Roll me a damage and location. That is 2 points of damage. So with all this wiggling, bang! You finally get a shot off, and it hits it right between the 2 parts of a spider's carapace. There's the body, and then there's that bit in front of it. It hits right between those 2, and there's a and the sort of green slimy material starts to come out of that hole.
Ugh.
It has definitely taken some, but not a huge amount. But again, when that hits, especially as that comes out, it starts to burn the human flesh off of that from there down. You can see it starting to eat the human flesh away, so you're seeing more and more of the bug inside.
Am I able to move?
Yep, absolutely.
I'm gonna try
There's no well, there are reactions in this game, but only if you've held a card, right? If you use one of those cards up your sleeve, you can use it as a reaction. Without that, there isn't. Just mechanically speaking, there isn't one.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna move back here a little bit, get away.
Okay.
Put some distance between me and the slimy thing.
Yeah, it's just and it's this as this stuff is hitting the snow, it's starting to steam and sizzle around it. And yeah, you back away like that's disgusting. And then whose 3 was that?
That was me.
All right.
So I have a quick question on movement. In this game, are you allowed to move between people, like between these 2?
Yes. Between
Okay.
and through. Each one of these spaces is 2 yards, so it's 6 feet on a side. So it's very easy to slide between people. You just can't if you share a space, I'll let you share a space with somebody because of it, but there would be penalties to anything you tried to do because you'd be sort of
Of course.
each other's face. But yeah,
I see what just happened to my friend to the left of me, and I just saw this other one spit at me, and I do a quick little math in my head, and I just take a boot scoot to the left right here,
Yep.
and I line up my shotgun like right aimed toward this guy right here.
uh-huh.
With
I see where you're going
eye
with this. I see where you're going with this. Give me a shooting shotgun.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, at the last second you think this can be better, and you drop down to a knee so that you're down where they are, because they're sort of on all fours, right? And it's not Sniper Elite, it's the other one, a double headshot. You do, because it's a shotgun, you're going to damage both of them because you rolled a 15 and it's a shotgun. So go ahead and roll me 6d6 for the first one. And the second one, we're going to do 4d6 because of whatever damage the first one takes is going to absorb a certain amount of it.
All right.
Oh, okay. So that, yeah. That's for the blue one that's closest to you. You hit it in the same spot it had been hit. No, that was the left arm before. So yeah, this thing's coming towards you. It's already missing one arm. You take the other arm most of the way off, and the chin sort of just drops and hits the snow, and it's just pushing with its back legs trying to get closer to you. But it's taken 2 more wounds to the other arm. The second one takes 3 wounds. Just roll me a 1d20 for location on that one.
All right. 20. Yep.
6. Okay. Of course it is. Yeah, you hit it in the same leg it was hit in before. And this time you blow that leg completely off. It is now a 5 damage left leg. That leg is gone, and this thing is now basically reduced to running in circles.
Is that the blue one? The blue dot one?
The blue one is got damage. It's missing both arms, and it's kind of dragging its chin through the snow trying to get to him.
Oh.
And the red one behind it is now completely missing one leg, and there's other damage to it, and it's basically spinning in circles. And you start to hear coming out of it.
Okay.
2s.
Yep, I got
Done,
I
Jen?
got 2.
Yep.
Got 2. Look at
You
there.
have to go first, and then the people that didn't have any numbers.
Yeah. So Alice is gonna nope right back over here. Which also gives me a nice little line towards the green Mr. Guy
Very good.
that she is focusing on because she knows that he's got that he might have the spray on him.
Absolutely.
Because at this point, she's thinking, I mean, if they're not messing with the pistols, that this thing probably hasn't done anything like it. So.
Yep. Good thinking.
So. I'm gonna shoot him up.
Shoot.
That's a 6.
Just makes contact. Roll damage and location.
Boom, boom, boom.
These extra successes that you do with a shooting allows you, if you choose, it allows you to move the damage by that many numbers. So if you roll an 8 location, you can make it a 10 and move it to a different part of the body if you're trying to pile damage up in one place. I haven't mentioned it before now because it hasn't really mattered. So that's 2 more damage to the guts of that was the green one you shot?
Yep.
Which was already shot in the gizzards, which is right next to the guts.
Mm-hmm.
So your blast goes basically, Ellie shot it in the top and it kind of reared up and you shot it underneath. It's almost in half, but it's still coming.
Okay.
Anybody that did not have a card this round?
That would be me.
All right, you're up.
Okay, so
Swinging top hat wearing man.
Well,
Who
you know
got
what? At least you got something within shovel range.
Yeah, you know what? This thing looks pretty beat up, right? So I'm just
like I
probably
said,
gonna.
it can't even. Its back legs are digging in and it's pushing forward, but it's got no like it's lost the use of both arms, so it's using its chin like a skid in the snow. And remember, the snow is chin deep or like chin deep. It's forehead deep for him. It's knee deep for you guys.
Well, time to put it out of its misery. I'll attack with my shovel.
So yeah, you turn the shovel edgewise and give me a shovel attack. I've been waiting 2 weeks to do this.
Oh yeah. Second under fighting.
Yep, should be brawling and shovel.
Where's my shovel? Where's my shovel?
Just give me what's your brawling?
My brawling?
Yep.
That's what I'm trying to find. I thought it would be on the top, so it's weird.
On the left side, somewhere in the middle, I believe.
On the left side. Oh, okay. Oh, here. Hold on.
Got it. It's down under fighting. It's under nimbleness.
Oh,
yeah.
it's under.
It's at the bottom left. I'm sorry.
Yeah, bottom
Okay.
left. Under
Okay,
fighting.
there we
Your
go.
first
Okay.
shovel. Level 5. So yeah.
Don't mess with a
That's a hit
shovel.
with 2 successes. Roll damage for me. I'll go to your combat page
Combat page. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
and then click on where it says hit location. Make sure that that's turned on, and then hit the damage button. For
So combat stuff, right?
Yep.
And then hit the what
me.
again?
Go down to it'll be melee weapons. Find your shovel.
Okay.
Make sure
melee
the hit location is on, and hit that damage button.
Oh, I didn't actually put it on it. Apparently. Okay.
Yeah, if it's
I
still
thought it
there,
did.
then good. If it's saved, it's saved. It usually doesn't. But
Okay, that's weird. I'm gonna have you do this one just because I
you
can't
don't
seem
have
to
your
find
shovel.
it.
There it is. Yeah, right there. Okay.
Okay.
Hit location on. Roll damage. Wow. Yeah, you guys see as he swings, this man is very lightly built, but there's something when that shovel comes around, there's something it's going so fast it's almost whistling in the wind. There is a hidden strength in this man that becomes obvious right now. As he and that one, yeah, it's already taken 2 to the gizzards and 2 to the guts. You strike right between the 2 bullet holes. One from the top, one from the bottom. You come in from the top, just full-handed axe wielding, swinging so hard your feet come up off the ground, and you chop this thing in half. And the 2 sides, they don't stop moving, but they skitter one in each direction. This thing is absolutely out of the fight, but it is not. Or I say it's it's gone, but it's it's like a chicken with its head cut off. Just the 2 halves are just running around in circles in the snow.
Out of curiosity, can you heal someone from the angle? I know I can't do that now, obviously, because I just did combat. But
Adjacent,
Okay.
yes. As long as
uh,
you're adjacent in any direction.
okay.
You used your movement, or you moved your action already. So, or you
Right. Okay. Just double check.
Because we're running out of time here, I am basically going to let you guys go first, and if they survive, they're going to get to go. So in any order you would like, let's do it alphabetically. Alice. I just looked at the time. So the one with the red dot is not looking good. It's missing a leg spinning in circles. The only other one that is still even vaguely up is the green one, and it's looking bad as well. I think you're muted.
Sorry. I said I got my she's laser focused on that.
You on Mr. Green?
Yeah.
Yep. Fire away.
It's a 10.
That's a hit. Roll some damage.
She's ready to end this. She's like, nope.
Just
Let's see.
the rest of you now realize why she has her hair combed up and back on that side. It's so
Mhm.
back from
Yeah, right.
messed up. The guts again. You guys just can't miss the guts. Yeah, it rears up and you again, and it looks down and you see its own claws sort of come out through the fingers and start trying to put itself back together again. But it actually rips the last little bit apart and it falls in 2 pieces on the ground, also dead.
Alice will just she'll just put the gun back on her back and just
Smoke rise from the barrel off into the
Yeah,
morning
yeah.
sun. It's like, I did my part.
Exactly it.
Who wants to go next? There's only one left. Who hates this red bastard the worst?
I'm happy to shoot anything.
3, 2.
I mean, are we going alphabetically still?
Oh, that's right. I said
yeah,
alphabetical.
yeah.
So yeah, let's not break my own rules. Ellie,
Go, Ellie, go.
I say shit. You guys have to.
I love that was
I just
Ellie's
say-
way of saying like, I mean, I want to.
And
Just
me,
like, oh.
Finish it.
which is a good,
Alright,
this is a good time to bring up this point. Call me when I make mistakes. Please say no. That's not what you said. I'm got real thick skin, and I will say you're right. So you're right. Go.
Let's see if I can hit this time.
Oh yeah, roll
There
me.
you
some-
Oh. Yeah, boy.
Um, yeah, there wasn't much left of this thing. You line it up, and you take, like I said, it only had one leg left on one, or one arm left on one side. Your shot takes off the opposite shoulder, so it kind of just spins around and stops, and just starts to ooze into the snow. Is also in the sudden silence that follows. The wind drops. These 4 bodies in front of you, with all these bug parts sticking out of them. You look up at the cave entrance, and you hear
Yep.
going back into
Oh,
the
not
cave.
again.
Oh, it retreated.
Into the cave. And Laura says, shit. Now we gotta go in after it. And that's where we'll end tonight. Standing in a clearing, bleeding and beat up in some cases. And you haven't even got to the actual bad guy.
Well, they managed to do a bit of critter angling there, but they didn't even quite get the big mama, so I don't know if they're ever gonna make it down to the Paradise City where the grass is dead and rhyming is not a priority. Anyways, thanks for joining us, and if you ain't given us that follow yet, please do so you don't never miss no episodes. Also, check out our Dungeons and Dragons folks over on Sundays and Mondays. Marshall Kevin, take us out.
All right, everybody. Thank you to all my players. We are still getting used to this, and it's working. We're getting there. You guys did some great adventuring tonight. There was some amazing role play, and those of you that know me, either as a player or as a DM, that's what I am all about. So I am a very happy and very lucky DM, to paraphrase our buddy Puck. Thank all of you for another great night of gaming. Go to our Discord channel, go to our website, go look below here on Twitch. All that information is there. Watch all those replays. These guys are, a lot of these people here are also content creators in their own right. So go and watch their stuff too. And with that, and a final thank you to everybody that's watching. Shoot you next week.